people account aside everything. I can't say you own the people moral obligation, moral responsibility. Well, you for to me more because when I win him answer. Your mouth to me because Ghana had in Eka boom no when I watching was through no a privilege and honor and will be able to serve on behalf of the people. And to win yourself to me no we nasa we wajuma yakase bua kwanta you have every right to say we bua kwanta chere Ghana for. And all things being equal. A dear Ben the Ken Ofori Attah kwan say my investigation must say na my version of the story no I am available me ba be chirem initially start here me yare no say ababe wi adu bia me yare no is no more part of the conversation because ya eyes enkonkoshi obi na wo yare ya do ya hwe enye na ya tam wo do akwakwashe detention center a cho say the gentleman are healthy even though say na say we are see the nipa na ho na nam we are see onyare why the didia now the me ya no say Ken Ofori Attah abra na oya finance minister na oyare chenya de bia because who nanima ho no your friend say na why so edemic nso ginagina ne ti hu na tim say wa ho no at the time he was managing the purse of this particular country, making reckless, dangerous decisions. I Ghana for catches, Papa. Apart from the economy, no say one kasa yare. So I didn't see that one for Juman to an Kosa yare. At the time, he didn't. He says, "Oh, I can't abandon my children." So why have you now abandoned the entire nation? At the time, those children need you to account to them as their father, as you claim. What I say? So he has no justification for all these things that he has brought upon himself. At the air cost the tacit complicity on the part of Ken Ofori Attah is quite obvious. And in some now, by the Nippon or Monam so more church the Mukrano sign in 7 year time. Papa be a sorry in them TV, I say a friend, a lawyer, I say a friend, oh, Mura Finiding. One of the Davis, something Davis.
Davis Opoku.
No, I'm friend something Davis. Now I say I have my sword in them radio so kasa and kasafine and as a form. Now I say what I watch that tunes away a spokesperson for the person. Obi floor say kasana say if you don't have any way out. Why don't you just shut up? You can declare as a man kasa, but the very moment you have no right. And on some now can you just assumptions, hearsay, and someone wanting no TV so biaka the amount for TBR. He hasn't demonstrated that in some or he has a clue about what is happening and or more demonstrated that arrogance. So for me, it is very embarrassing because Ken Ofori Attah have decided say come hanoma. That is a fact. Okay. And then it's premised on the fact that he knows very well that maybe this particular way of unfolding on to a certain extent he is guilty and is the reason why he has decided not to come back to this country. So now responsibility no is on the part of the state just to ensure that you befa crime bi aso a ye de never kroma na ya mana be siamra enti window no na ye ba kope na na ye hwe looking at extradition the last time betena catch how difficult and the process and how cumbersome it is and na Ghana for ye koda sorry ye and another window as you open am that window has to do with deportation because visa has been revoked, and for that matter, you have become an illegal alien or an illegal kind of way in America, and for that matter, no, you have to be deported. So Ghana near all here, you will say Ken Ofori Attah Ghana there, see a win-win. And that is a consolation. But we are very embarrassing to watch. Say, Omaya Yatima Manford, your nebusa politician be a comfort. Politician baby wiayen na obi aserve na dwuma wie na emra so se brabe yiwa no na waje atum sa memma na wo ne oman no konto kwa twa amanso time because abusuan panyini kura no wudi a amanfo kobu nkonta because Ghana has a yawo mra da ho a ehye abusuan panyini kete se we se obu akonta kire nkrofo first lent sa but even abusuan panyini kura no obu nkonta how much more the finance minister of a country called Ghana. Most of the crucial decisions that happen here are more minor cut off from no criminal investigations have been alleged, and most of them know you are a subject of interest in any of these things. But I you are no, and I'm on for quickly, and I'll say, oh man, I didn't try an absentia. You don't try somebody an absentia when the options now are available, you have not exhausted it. Can all for that and and now on never be a order kroma on ye. And now the processes I didn't no, you exhausted yet. So we need to go full vim just to ensure, say, bring him back to this country, either dead or alive. From class, you're channel in the bar, as you're in the bar. Now you're babadina some. Now you're sending loud and clear message to people in this present government to say, the area Ken Ofori Attah and then Ochina, you're so cool, be a yasni, you're the Dana Daha. You should know so what that's in or no. We will be our Munyan Safua, or when they will be a what that's in or no, because a day baba, or be back or about a year. So what crowd will be there.
Yeah.
So whatever Ken Ofori Attah is going through today, no. So what more breya? That will be your future.
Yeah.
Somebody a bit me send a loud and clear message to people out there. I'm more no yes my Kenya na mabana mi dimyan side to me pet. The obey be ano. What's now come for 10 good years, 20 good years, and you will be held accountable.
Yeah.
So that is the message that we want to send across board. So for me, I think the Attorney General is doing what he's doing, and then the other side, the diplomatic channels and other stuff, it has also been activated. I'm told the Ghana embassy in the United States of America went there to offer him a consulate assistance. Or see on pet. That's fine. And for me, I think the SCA Ken Ofori Attah back room her BR, I say at the neighbor. Because I yes I best set a very dangerous precedent. And Obia about mine from Bia Nakano, Rako Divano, Ram Cobabia, Wabo mine cat. And that also tells you Nipa Akufo conform do mine. That is why in your hotel and co every attacker didn't for say Obia will be Blabuna, Yemblemo Kufuado.
Yeah.
Because the quality of people are conform on the buy and never chababa. Because what's a normal person on his right senses and a Yafa minister. Now we are some organic. But you are not seeing man, but I was a man more chamanson. Which a normal person, which means that these people in their entire life, Abanya Juma Crown, they've never served in any capacity, running his private business. And when he was even a finance minister, he was running or minor like a charity organization where he didn't say Munia the Ope, not in the Google banks.
Yeah.
Papa Kwasindio was one of the finest business people in Okroma. What dine a Kauda and there, about 10 crowns to me Nante. This is the doing of Ken Ofori Attah. Now we are some cross the same way you know we say business about minor man for we are. Now baby you are no then mayare and you have people sitting on TV talking nonsense, seeking to justify some of these things. For me, I think that the moral obligation is on him. And as a minor, your failure, your failure, and the other woman as well. In the case with Ken Ofori Attah,
yeah.
You cannot speak about Ken Ofori Attah and leave Sedinam Tamako out of it.
Yeah.
She's equally guilty because no crowd she has been pronounced guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. She's a convict. And on minor crime as you're dragging on so we need to do it. You understand? And I'm told say on no crowd the processes are quite advanced because the federal court hearing, the clearance, everything has been done. The next thing they said the State Department will give the final destination for her to be extradited to this particular country to continue the jail sentence. You see, yet a criminal among for politics, we say, a yaveno, meba, Minkwana Minimans and Modi to your mamma, the Pena Mayer. Obi be a common DC, a Kurabiasi DC, or to me, yes, I know the ye Nabra Bassa. We need to change that particular narrative. Say, we did not appoint you to come and look after yourself. Number the larger interest of the community. What I say, I'm from 1990. Can we sit here and quantify the number of people yet liberty or more from poverty to a middle class? We can't.
We can't.
And you know what's here 1990? They are the same names running in our politics. And the children, from 1990, Obi post 1990. Still today, they are still in power. So it means politics and say and because Omuoma a benefit of Munintino, they are not taking about the larger community. And the overcall could be arsenal, and then go to CC Hono, and one that does CC, but the overall politics, na bra boss someone as see na dan atoto ne kasa asa na yire no me say the aba na say oh ya na wasa yire no ma na de omako go man for frost na what ha nti agikim no answer we gane na
akọ ka omo.
But in any serious country you can't even do that because on mine na what team a wo say na wo som no your family should be there. So amamo na ne niam na cause papa wo nkrofo so will go through, but on mine there is no sense of decency in our politics. We see politics as a game and I see divide your home. We know what has America. At the end of the day, we are unable to look at the proper issues on the ground. And thereby emotions, and 40 TV, so be a Canada. the central key issues are a choke the average Ghanaian. We live it. And Ken Ofori Attah issue by you could see a certain concerted effort across the political divide. Our one can sign a party for Beji said Dabi. And then I want who be a nimasi. Because this is a buying a bedim a community 8 years, a man for say a crumb for a man for a tree form, you lose who are in this particular embarrassing faction. Bana was a woman who be a nimasi, enti a srokan bra, uba. Ghana, Mahama, and Timin Chichel was our band to walk out to prison. He can't do that. And the Attorney General cannot do the same thing. That I'm saying, sir, even President Akufo-Addo, whose post-tenure prosecutorial window has opened, because with the president, we are the first 3 years, you can be prosecuted.
Yeah.
The president is here. When we say, Yatam, not Kwakwa prison. And now, Yatam, never we are a number one campaign. Economic management team, that's a pansam, and some Dambawian and all that, no. But what we are channel. Baumia is free working, so it is absolutely nonsense. For Obibo Kwakwa Jimmy Biakasa, Ken Ofori Attah bar, you bear with Hanson, and I'm to say, Papa TV or but to Ken Ofori Attah for some man or bar. Oh, enough. Why are you in that question prison? These are cowards who are just running away from accountability. By me, my son, let me say, yeah. Oh, how to say, yes, a control fee, you're a channel, we are there, and what time the best one. Obianya Modi didn't know what I see you. Because one of my Bob or one, you know, and him no go be anymore. Nanimi say, Kunai, you know, I don't have channel, said the Musi Drune, so I see one Abaswa. Exactly, you know, be ideas one time Abaswa, Nesuya. And that is exactly what Ken Ofori Attah is doing. So for me, I think, Ghana for Yamaya Ninya, then I sending the red line into her, going forward. Politics is no longer going to be an avenue where twisted minds will get easy access to political power and use it for their personal benefit, to the detriment of the large majority of the people who over the years have been languishing in poverty. That we see a man for now who how hopeless people are. There is no future. You don't even know how to plan your life. There is nothing working for you. And the option to travel those things are not even available to these individuals. That is why you appreciate real life among for but people have gotten it so easy because politics you can easily steal and make money. And I think we need to start and end it. So I like the energy on the part of the government. Say activity here. Because Ken Ofori Attah knows the last time I met Attorney General, I told him Ken Ofori Attah games now will play about this whole extradition process. He knows it is a political thing, so he will fight it. One year now. Then he will move to the next chapter, which is I am sick. When he begin to then he will flip to the page of I am sick. That overthrow to a realm of human rights. And the medical also seeking medical care. Can you force the person out of the country? It becomes and that too has to also be subjected to another court intervention. So it's a whole deal. You understand? And he knows. And that is why I lawyers a kuku damne as a forum. The last time Attorney General Kokansa said me so suruntina. Okay. Oh, cancer about entesa. Because Ghana ne your friends Ken Ofori Attah sama yekodi. Ghana follow ya Ghana ye new representation or ye nyanasa. America will be acting as Ghana's proxy. Ye nkodi asem America na beji na mama yen. Na Ken Ofori Attah ye di na asem. Obi a wudi na asem de. E so no so de lawyer ba na tie na asem. And the US acting as Ghana's proxy, then a friend is a Ken Ofori Attah with his lawyers. And the country was a Ken Ofori Attah offer good lawyers, not because of slow, but because Ken Ofori Attah is determined, vehemently determined to fight his extradition. Because on the moral lines, let me go. You can even arrange with them. Investigation, you know, so 1 week now, you can go and continue your care. You come back, every process and then the rest can continue. But to defiantly say I will not come because I am sick. Ken Ofori Attah is never sick because he was seen tracking, not sick or not sick or not sick to the extent say now man for describe it say or you terminally ill or baby watching and yes I net here. When you share a bag bonechi, I on the streets of New York, Washington. Obi oyare I see for Kwakwa Tamon, you do detention center. Detention center na America na detention center Papa Bio. Now no me call joy na me the example say Oko Florida. There is a particular one called Alcatraz, your friend saying detention center. Donald Trump asidan no and a what cage why pana what the wires a Trump and who she to say nipa share cage him to say kura. nipa da sanio yes we ni yes a legal status e wa America enti ya fa nipa te say kura na ye de watom pass na ye de nkansan twa ompa no ho ahia enti wuntimi mpie nko ba bia so that is the how inhuman this whole thing is and the nipa hye box to box to say kura because okopa bibia bedi o yes oni nkrata na ya kire na ye treat nipa te say bi onye nipa sa detention say menka say ho no wo de Ken Ofori Attah call ye but the me say in the mind of the president this is how he sees you as a common petty criminal bia wo say be so nim fa so ntino obetim do ahye cage him enti say etimi tam wo no kwhye such your friends say niema numa. Can you tell people say you are sick? You are not sick. Because eyes will not see you. And we are so sick, fragile, going to die tomorrow, and they will put you there. So I think that now the onus lies on him. So as long as he stays, I impugn amamuno mbebu ye no, and I show the quality the name Akufo Addo so be ye kwase sasa nkofo we don be so na wafase ne sanse munu mbedi ye no. Enu nie because maybe if the MPP everything be equal. Now yes, sample MPP as a political party up a quality men are more right conviction to come and lead the Ministry of Finance at the time. Ebianka Ken Ofori Attah qualify. But for the fact to say, oh your president what facility and over share her. And now so if there is anybody to blame, you blame the president. That is why your friends say Nyahota Maklo and all other reasonable men of conviction within the party are rising to the occasion. Say if there is anybody to blame for all that is happening, but the MPP as a political party, look at how fractured the party has become. Now you can imagine what they did to Ghana, and beyond that, to see the conduct of Ken Ofori Attah and go on in the life when you are several by private sector, no, he is not accountable to Obia. I am not at the bank. So that is the mindset, that sick, twisted mindset. And I don't know, then I'm not going to say, but we are there and beating me. So I think, Ghana, we need to show that renewed sense of accountability. Now you're making sure that we fast track things, and whoever be ordering the Sababo mindset, it doesn't matter whether you are MPP, NDC, when I wear your wine, when I wear soft when I wear your wine. That is why I've always been insisting that the cathedral should be. Your friends say a loud message to people over the years. I had a software Bible kata ye nia ye din sem hu okroma no. Ye sha say jeli amam for mu de besu nyansa going forward the national interest will be a paramount priority. Will be making sure that we walk by that line.
All right, young judge, a judge and Gisioware lawyers. Judge reject plea by Gisioware to slow down proceedings in national service scandal case. Yeah. Oh yeah, constitution in the everybody have right to fair trial, and fair trial has a lot of your friends implications. Nipa no be man time, I'm gonna prepare the defense or be privy to charges. I charge no. Do who say money nyina fall within the fold of fair trial because we timi for court sermons in komo be adechi ya so mra court. Abra we nya daje enkan krata no enya hu ni defense enya hu who is going to represent me. You need to constitution make it quite clear, give them time then as for the question they say Sanya man give to what when na we nya so when you Sanya man we nyina na process no has activated course you don't determine when you come to court. Now yet kroma say ambulance case na omode we come no finance minister you out way every blessed day be na court. Yeah, to for
how many years? Every blessed day no sabaya won't me nya hwe. They were using the court to frustrate you. And I'm saying these people they don't know when actually. Because I won't be no question and never will I won't get a so about the kind of one because you are guilty of some of these things. But the fact of the matter is, are you being witch hunted? Is the court as a place of adjudication, or yeah, there be a now for that one I will speak for you. Because we want fair trial. But as long as court near Mabia and Ghana for one accountability, and he thinks they can expedite the process and make sure we achieve speedy conviction, I'm not sure any normal person will fight against it. So you understand? They have no case. It's just a way of stalling the process because you see, they were convinced Ghana you're fast here no court to 8 years in the bedia na 8 years in the bedi. Now buying for fraba now. That is the mindset. But the speed at which we no corner here. Bosumi mi ansa kwara ma ombe wie nti wan tiatima and no reasonable judge will sit in the court and accept this nonsense unless you are able to raise legitimate grounds affected defense affected right in an for but barring all these things there no judge will listen to you. So for me I think they need to dance to the tune of their own music. These people had easy access to power, they had easy ticket to power, and they foolishly abuse it because to sit at the National Service Secretariat, you are dealing with poor young people who are desperate, hopeless, coming out of the university. Now, yeah, who has a crowd where you need to musica boss and Quasia Crown to top bag, to kind of bad, who couldn't cover edge scholarship and so forth. When you know, say, or mining your way up at it got to a time. A buyer win them radio station among for a friend or Madame Nachama and why Wakoto team, then as a forum. Where these funds were coming from, people were not even interested. That is what I've always advocated. Said, when people are in power, they hold position of honor. We must begin to scrutinize them, their source of income, then as a forum, and what the person is doing. Because I mean, this Auditor General report for me, that is absolute trash and nonsense. Because no normal society will sit down and allow people to steal millions of dollars. And I know the year they are putting in a good book back since 1990. Basically, any corrective measure biana, you make sure that we prevent the occurrence of that infraction. Yeah, I understand it's difficult, but because abaye annual way now, we need to deploy mechanism aimed at ensuring that we target the institutions while the person is there. We make sure we prevent it within the year. Not always putting it in a book. Auditor General report. Hey, opa me amfa to TV so and discuss when you
yeah.
Dance abe ne wo.
Eno akra de ba kwa ye hu ye se agenda 111 no kra ye tua sika man krofo ma anya adwuma bia Auditor General say wase charge wo mo de shuka me pay.
So I think with those corrective measures we need to adopt because National Service Secretariat for people to sit there submit names to Parliament. When names are either come Parliament in a different from names are all control editor among foka. And Parliament has an oversight because it is not for nothing. Yeah. And say Parliament need to exercise that oversight responsibility at the amount. So you cross check and make sure that the numbers. But for the Parliament didn't say so the core job that these people are supposed to avail their mind to know, they didn't. And also to any fertile avenue on the background, control and also no, almost documents in the buy, massa say come, no proper verification. And I rely on monthly verification. They have a way of making sure they verify themselves and they get the money paid. So it means within your financial engineering there is a fundamental weakness. I say address it. One person cannot sit at a particular office and steal millions of Ghana cedis. Yeah. What we know na abato radios na fe no be ATM e ho na be hu expert hold Ghana na semba na hu security expert. Economic expert ne. Nso mo to na hu expert bia wo mabrabo mo. Asemasi no na security expert and we one expert and ansem hunu kwa 1 week ya kasa with TV so ya wie. Asem na san. We are not serious as a country. You understand? So for me I think say abaya na de onka na ntum na de eba ikura de onyem hwehwe cause e kose wadifo a the law no I understand behind the scenes no obetua no I understand the ultimate aim is to get the money. Yeah, that one is sure, but we cannot create a system where buyer brana betua na fa ahudi and say ko bia bewia they are investment na me ba na me fa 1 million we have me fa 1 billion na me de kobo brana 10 years achi ya cheme na se me de aye nyuma ye na kasa woju sika it's just a matter of baju sika na me mpe 500 bi nto so krono na me boy na wona mabere wase no eno de ko people are not looking at the other benefit that would have gone to other people. We are looking at the onu gain here, but the negative aspect na am say ma obi anya na dwuma obi ese ya fa na national service wonya kwanya na ode ya fa na se wakose no ho akomfo obi to kwan desperate wakoka obi man so Egypt baby a oya any slave. These things we don't quantify. We are only looking at sikana nipa na fire no but the reverse no we don't look at. That is how narrow sometimes we are. So for me I think say yentimi nkase ya chichiro obi na koto prison but the gina mra na nim there Attorney General has to do everything, speed the process, make sure, say, come account say at the end of the 4 years, the only message John Mahama can tell the people of this country is say, Omo muwia musika no, omu feti ni. And I listened to somebody on TV so why tall list of we say from 1992 MPP ni bia no ya jail no for corruption. Na all list NDC for ya jail for. And I say oh you are. So for them they think that is a gain. So now the ball is in your court. If you joke around it and let them go scot free, That is your own business. You understand? Because you see, we need to make the system such that a man for corn loss on the and for me, that is the bottom line. Because a teacher near cut to 5,000 sooner. I didn't think a minister with 20,000 and so on.
Yeah.
What I say? You say to me, Yana and some now. I think that on mine benefit as Obiano, Obian Saba candidate to chill mine because I don't believe in the way Nimyan chain will be way when the chain will be. It take a concerted effort. And the collective might of us all, irrespective of who you are, will be a carpenter, will be chradie. Obi clinic, your friend is saying, Obi clinic, toilet, so Obi a clinic school. The concerted effort of all of us and the cabo more my mind. What does I now call Trotro station here? Trotro driver and a woman is a radio in the Pana when we win. Okanaka, manager, Nebia, Oban Nantino, Other winter, Obia Home fast work. And your minor on to see a beginning who say be important, no, or mining ye. That is why I call Europa or more clinic. Shop and then for another day they're able to take care of themselves because or any decent earning. We know na nimero ebi akwa request sika o nyoro to me double job na for wo as a lawyer kra no ebi aboso me be so sika o di kofie no na wo as a lawyer we need sika no and hu na obetimi aye we on so I think that is a system that we need to create just to ensure say you be offer that avenue for obia na obia ni nkombere say chinchin asem me koya politician chinchin I know the day no dilute the space. That na me catch look at the MPP today. Look at the caliber of people. I show up say President Eddie. Oh, you will be now very much concerned about Ghana, your democracy in the future. Wouldn't you be worried if you look at these people say they want to be president? Wouldn't you be worried because at just the veil of your fans I respect the reverence. Over the years, you know, you do who presidents, you know, at theater form. And then anybody at all can just wake up and mess with some president, and it's so dirty. I think that as a minor. We must begin to punish crime. Sabaya, incentivize a man from Kura politics, no from Medicine. So, give your one there, she should just shut up and face her fate. Because the way Ghana for Buafuno and now Brabba born in the Sanquasa crown on the boy, you know, Ghana for want to see the end. Obianka Sachinchi and Fanuko to jail. But you did 7 years who nifa. Oh, why not? Why not? Every crab, you never top powder Kotoguno, you sign the home. But so di for the and Sawabno, Bass now on the Bakabia Ghana for media children. So, Sanet here, Obian time Obia, we need to establish the conventional red line in the sun and make sure, sir, Obia Barbara, Papa, Bonia, then the consequences will be on you.
All right, we are live on Facebook, my CTVGH. My CTVGH, Mr. Oba, like it, na share, na otama, baby, a person who to be a fakoto, na obia so and share na enquetry, intime pacho, and rano, Yabasha US, assembly be boom and rano, Ediafra, but yanti, Professor FrimpongBoaten, NPP for issues in the influence, say, Yahotama could say, if they dare touch FrimpongBoaten and you know more canon so no one more ebe free party him FrimpongBoaten say nyadia will be free party him or no do onim say he doesn't belong to the fake one, he belongs to the original NPP na onim no but other current executive current ones on them fake. The word fake no almost one pen fake.
Yeah, I think that is really embarrassing. And me nema we see nyina kyerɛ sɛ yɛbinum anya tan na yɛtan obi
exactly
obaka kyerɛ sɛ enya nyine yɛ de but ebia nema yɛte hɔ a yehu no obi adi 90 years but onhu ana nema yɛte hɔ a yehu in the future no ukɔgyina abrosan 100 so kra bia wonhu efra ade be positive intuition and insight and you can be helpful to predict and project things see in the future. We saw these things early but these people never saw it. At the time they thought so it was business as usual. I am comra and yakwa baby now we are being vindicated say government na running on just like we told you, was nothing more than a criminal enterprise. Certain criminal enthusiasts and yabwabo mo when you kwenya so party ni. So the MP, because I said the MPP as a core political party, we have Kufuor time now what Akufo-Addo brought to bear. It was totally different. Because over the years, when people were doing, NDC and MPP are the same, say, compare NDC to the Kufuor's MPP. Not Akufo-Addo. Because the Akufo-Addo's MPP is not MPP. That is a criminal entity that was taken over by criminals. And they decided to use the party to do. The last time I cited examples, it is a war bus. ah what the fast sort of for consciamu no be aba say ya me be fa oba ase akonshiamu o and what the man in the name of the consciamu not knowing say how the kowia amponchen e wo sirem and a police for akwachi say oba ase say amponchen na wodi wia. So the MPP as a political party was hijacked by these criminals and na omode bebo oman no kro no and omo wie and ho sansam nie enti panyini bia na nida ho bia hu said that be so we had the tenant I inform the formation of our party adia ye de shaase a enye sa niema we ne ye de shaase na mom party na deviate from everything, and it's the reason why cool heads could not prevail at the time oman na ye tan titia pansama. People started criticizing, you know, they saw them as an enemy. Because maybe ye mubi na ye kana na wuntia at the time na nyahota makotisi abontia or can be maybe you could have listened to him. Papa we have a friend of Kwame Mpianim at the time they were expressing concern about the Kwayana MPP namsono. Maybe President Kufuor recently came and affirmed and confirmed your long held view about the MPP. So it was nothing about we being anti-government at the time. Or maybe we hated the president, or it was the state of play. Nema na ayetime, and the dima baby we in there, and omo Claudio omo with certain aggression, certain hostility. Say, so one come my end there, yeah, own kind. But I keep telling people say you must be very stupid to think say, oh, run your mind, SOB a pewasem. So oh, run your mind, SOB a can be mount. No, you don't need people as you don't need everybody as a friend. E basa akra man no koto amena bra wuhu. That is why I keep telling people that from where I sit, the best people to use in politics is people you perceive they are your enemies. Because they are the very people you can use. So when I say, because in a proper politics, I want as a chess, on the way, no. Yeah. The best people to use are your enemies. You can, because Omobano, what put them on notice? Said they don't like you. Yeah. So in their entire time with you, they need to prove themselves. And trust me, they will serve you diligently because your eye is on them. So that's how you use enemies in politics. So sometimes funny people say, on Pema, if you are very smart and very intelligent, the best people you can use in politics is the perceived enemies. Because your eyes on them directly, they can sabotage you. And they have the responsibility to prove themselves. Always and always, they will serve your best interest. So you don't sack people say, and to be criticized, what? Just get close. Avail your mind to why this person is doing this. Maybe you don't lose nothing when you go close to the person. Charlie, then say say now. I said nipa no open up to you because nipa no mo twa won no. Your politics say dey city ntino. Dodo na de mo yafunu na namo. Ende ya say we naked kwa be on kan kira o say wo sekente. Ono anim say we naked but o ka say wo kente ye fe pa. Not knowing say you are naked. And when you have that alternative views around, now they will look you and tell you the ugly truth. You need to listen. So in Yahota when they started talking and other people talking, President Akufo-Addo saw them as enemies and they hated him. Yeah. They were very hostile to him. He didn't know, say he was digging his own grave, and these people were just helping to stop him from digging his own grave because Akufo-Addo was not just digging his own grave with your friend is saying with a shovel. He was digging his own grave with a teaspoon. Yeah, just imagine say the teaspoon and show himself for two. One man I be see wom. Bra answer the one. Into be two last am na we no what home. So because some would they say so. Obet me answer anu bebre. The teaspoon and no two on one kasa the grave. And you we two am na we no obutom. The one kasa omokata so eno ano no. That was what he was doing. But these people were seeking to prevent him from doing so. But he never saw it as some money. So for me, I think say Abrabon number boy and they play out. And the hostility they met with Ghanaians and they demonstrated within a political party or opposition. And what you need is reconciliation. This is the time for you to look around. Yakofa Akoya and the Catherine Masino, Kasakra Wente, yes, general secretary, or the Brubunus Atata, or no be you be the nine people no bam dabbing. I'll be your man for it. Because now your friends say Professor FrimpongBoaten or interview no. Adianchi. Okoya na 10 p.m. no interview.
Adechi ya na wuchiro lete.
Do you be a badge ma and can answer over phone. Hey Prof. Say you just engage the person and even admonish him to go and apologize if you think he has done something wrong. You as a general secretary, that is your because you are the CEO of the party. Whatever it is, no. But I'm said that hostility into unfair or better you film. Now in politics, let me tell you, there is nothing like good riddance. So there is no good riddance in politics. Yeah, you will be a free party. Because party practically is about numbers. The only justification you have to take somebody from a party is when you have proof. Say, apart from say we in a vote in a free side, you know, that person has the potential to also say obebu a man for free party. No? That is the only ground because Owoma maybe obedi now about 4 or 5 votes. Yeah. And for that matter, no, we in a frame, that is a good riddance. But a riddance on the equal way, that person, the OYM cannot take anybody away from the party, and you have no proof, and you have not been able to justify that, there is no good riddance. But rather you turn the perceived enemy into an ally and use his energy. That is what you do, because those people have a lot of energy. I'll bet you use to do good. But my culture says arrogance, belligerence, hostility. This is a party that will lose power. You will lose power. Said your general secretary na ma ya ta already also no. The same thing na your friend is so here no parliament. The same aggression na omo muti TVs na abranti say your problem miracle aboaje be gina ti. Oh rather Ghana have mercy. America aboaje o se hwan. Ono so gina TV so ekeka nema bo ne na se for no. These people have the moral audacity to come on TV and be making all these things. So yeah, for me I think say the nyahotamo kuleka no me moving some of Canada, and that the MPP as a political party need to set up because say I'm not say employing for more party no more any be make us more near be like a mature party no winning party in history. Gradually you are asking all of them. President Kufuor want to say ya mana mane ata candidate ni ba bi ono so to mane nyahotama kroma say ya mfa na nya hwe Professor FrimpongBoaten, look at their ages and where they are coming from. You are turn up and they are trying to boss a unified party. You can count the numbers. So this is a party washaka. And the Kokra penny for no more fear on two party no for no. You win every ho. So I know the day no. Now by a metro man, a bear gang of your friends are hot-headed individuals. Yeah, they are running the show. And you think you can capture political power with this? So I think that the party, that's the one I told you, sir. They need to undergo your first radical reconstruction, your first surgery, no? People were asking, say, because this is a party we're losing identity. This is a party old people, no? Ideas as ADB or Modi or my mentality. Growing up, you saw that you catch us a MPP, a party of elite. By then,
intellectuals.
And then intellectuals no crying in the station boys from Munduru. And then we have regional chairman, Biruma, Yakoto to Aba more. Now, because say, Nipa, we are dreaming the way team or no quite Pilito. We say, no wonder the whole Yankasa regional, Ayabono.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bono has always been a safe seat for the MPP, but the whole Bono MPP were one seat. Bono has always been a comfortable traditional zone for the MPP. Brekum, both east and west. And this is when we Sunyane of all places.
Yeah,
exactly. It tells us that fundamentally something has changed. It's the same thing when Chibuzia Krum. One of the the founders of the MPP.
Yeah.
You've lost all these things. So as Obia, what dream would who lead the political party? No, some peniful way criticize the party. All you have to do is to fold your arm and ask yourself a lot of questions. What is wrong? Then you begin to engage and reconnect with these people. Don't see them as an enemy. But never no just use their energy, their advice, and turn it around because you are in a position, you are in a stage of reconciliation. This is not the time to be sacking people from political party. When party nankasa structure nankasa bubu. When it comes to the flag bearer thing, look at how divided and how hostile the party has become. Can Japan tugum, we threaten waha. General Secretary no they don't even respect you. And on a cloud ben or bang. And then Papa no kasa omo small boy lawyers. Asem kro mu ni bi no munko fo no mo wies call national service no munko di omo asem ye fro bi na nabi kasa boom we nu nyina na mu we nu no mo run a political party. I think that I feel so embarrassed and ashamed because Debia Meka, I believe in Ghana's democracy.
Yeah. I
want it to be deepened, and to achieve that, NDC cannot be that stronger and the MPP will be weaker. We need to be at par. Because in a democracy, when you create a stronger political party and others are weaker, you create a society of chaos and people use the advantage and still do a whole lot of stuff. But the MPP is doing everything to become weaker. They are desperately trying everything possible to be weaker by decimating their front, dividing themselves. President Kufuor nam ne baby, Nyahota Makro nam ne baby. That is why he's saying, some person we in free party no man. Or we now exit. Yeah. And if these people decide to go and form another political party, there are people who follow them. Now, no, they know, and your strength in a boom. Now, sir, as a leader, no party na why any year as a wabuno. Party be a him penning for winum, but then penning for Kakano more MPP, no, they've all turned themselves into bootlickers and sick over. That was what the last time maybe said. More council of elders, no more take a decision. Or more young crown or young penning for. Company better Tenasa Kumuza, flag bearers way, what you will not to, they should come and lead the party. Are you a serious person? One party, no, Alusu has such a battered image in the public, and you want to come back, appealing to the conscience of people. Which average, normal, educated person, you think we are joking in this country? And I think and what people don't know, they say, NDC MPP, Obian one the core supporters with your man winning elections, and the electoral map not quite clear. You need the average minds in the middle to make a decision that we are going this way, and then but when they decide to go this way, they all go this way because intelligent minds always think alike. One present opia,
yeah,
you will be digging your own grave, and I wonder why the MPP has not sat down. Do they even sit to analyze things at all? The economy, do they even see it? Because you only confront a problem when you see it as a problem. I'm not sure that they even see it as a problem. Show no more running. Wait to money, wait to money, wait. Party now, no. What it's up and some no. Over country, I'm for say who you be a film because what can I drink? Now, opposition crown away intolerant. Then you have the audacity to do a press conference and criticize government. One opposition now run such a tattered entity called political party. No, you are not availing yourself to. Or your friends say contrary views. Obich na dwene en wan koya wo se empam no. But what in China, with me your press conference o criticize aban. Are you serious? Yeah. Let us get serious. And that's why I make a win here. What opposition no? Uncrophone to criticize a party no. But what to me your press conference o criticize aban. Asaba o kan kro bia kwante. Ah nipa be serious. I think we need to get serious. The MPP no who said a political party, and you'll be a party. Party no move fine if they decide to say these are the people they want or move the fair grounds because Nippon and Penny for a party in new end. No, Obia or baby Ojina. Now, some men are making Canada Japan. Now, me first me run for president. Now, party executive ni the Adomba Quechia. Don't you think I'll be hostile? So sometimes in as much I can on the Subai, sometimes it's justified. Because when the party has muzzled against you, you also have to muzzle yourself up and fight the system. And these are some of the things that party no something is fundamentally wrong. And Tina Obi to say FrimpongBoaten and as a forum, these are people so in your party obedi. But what Timia could criticize and Ghana Han Adeba Kwan Yan so no won't be criticize Panini and yes sycophant bootlick and Nadia Chene yes a massa and I know how very often how often do you see people criticizing their own government? They don't have the ball because position be an area and the Nippon or criticizing also see you as an enemy. My dream now who say Abranti ya can sem power, Yama ya dream call, Obe who was an enemy. Obisloka could din concern we say. And we prioritize those things. I know the day near the baby hosono. Now some Nipana can no crack. Nafe at tap and some. And summer at a Kennedy dinner from Sa can take a MPP for Jane so pum. And more tennis or more turn into something. And think Gabianca party into me away. But when they started doing this top to down approach, I sat here and told that's absolute nonsense. For political party will lose power. All your ranks they are fractured. Among for or more dissatisfaction. And the major key way among for can say party executive at the time align with one candidate. And that brought biases. Now also once some more now microphone sign executive now some another flag bearer. It means you have an agenda. That is straightforward common sense. Now one day we are now arguing or find the politics no one just say what I say. So for me I think say one kasa dey omu deserve one or one no. Na nya say obi na tan omo and as obi na And no because obi omo di omo political party yeah what political party and your mama dey your papa dey it's a public entity are you seeking to come and rule this country the larger interest of Ghanaians are at stake. The reason why Akufo-Addo set up a criminal enterprise by running this country the affect you maybe no so obia ho kwan to speak about anything going on in any political party because you are a potential government in the offing. I will be a horse or come one and you don't sit anywhere and say never they need to sit up and put their asses together and do things right. And yes, Ghana for will be on them.
All right. The Donald Trump the hour the Ababa Tumna and Radio Car yes immigrant visa or suspended 75 countries including Ghana and Nigeria. And I don't know who said and to social media so oh football no World Cup on any ashe ayeka. That's a migrant visa no crown crofon shed and see anyway. But innocent in also other point of view, they say Venezuela president here, Donald Trump will come one now. Ghana, yes, you issue statement as and now you're no and can't be and I yes suffer consequences.
Yeah, Donald Trump I will be a highly unpredictable. Or no, America. Your friends are allies since 1945 after the Second World War. Omo forming those allies in as for besi nenya na akra no. Asha your friends say or no more piamanso. How much more we a French country we na baby. So when it comes to some of these diplomatic way sometimes I always say issues no bi o ha. You say nye nsembia na yakoka bi. Yeah. That is a fact because nipa na oto no enya predictable. Okasa will take vengeance on you or no or say nema na oye no. On slow be I say we are I know IGP. The others now to be will be president. How much more? Until over condemn never condemn the issues no by France, UK didn't answer for us. Who had in some normal car. They were running around because we are so yeah. They said you have to be very tactical, very tactful. And then as a forum. So I understand. So sometimes the ideological, your friends say we know Ghana, your friends saying some socialist tendencies and then as a forum will provoke you sometimes to make some of these things. But I think you have to be very tactical in the way and manner you go about some of these things. You can only speak your mind when the person there, no, sabi one and all leverage be over him. And then or you will be amenable to reasoning. Oh no. Or seminar back on yeah. And even when this issue came up and they were speaking about countries against Donald Trump and as a foreigner, they didn't even consider any country from Africa. What are seminar mechanisms? So I think so when it comes to some of these games, you need to play it well, know when to speak, not when to speak, in order not to incur any unnecessary rough PR on yourself. And for me, but I'm not sure that is the reason why these things. Donald Trump on your stable. Foreign policy initiative. Now no say he's armed with the most aggressive foreign policy. Your friends are drive or the name we are say. Or say American first policy. And anything you are bad the team be says or implement money possible be and now your friends say one of the states is it Minnesota saying from Somalia phobia. Almost more wire fraud and as for what's America fraud and as a result of that you know or say free now your friends say now more Activia protected Somalia and Takwasi Somali into a more multi-million over thousands of people more protection in America or since our protection will come because a binum so you see how unpredictable. So this is a person when you're dealing with them you need to be very very careful because the thing is that you need him more than Onuhiao. And you know, and that is how he's playing. So the next 3 years, you know, it's game be or play. No, you need to because Ghana. What people don't know is that Ghana has a very good relationship with the United States of America because they do a lot of things here behind the scenes. Your friends say a central point for them for the U.S. operations and so forth. And it's interesting to know that embassies in the WhatsApp region or that is the biggest. Yes, actually, they have a certain interest in Ghana. That is why over the years the relationship has been that way now. So, but Trump is a different person. Or no, my culture say Trump is anti-Washington person. Who call US because will be anti your friend saying what outside that Washington outsider. When a politician, he's from a different background and so he sees things differently, doing things in his own way. the normal conventional line of doing American politics where diplomacy those kind of way no or no first your friend said Tehran sa protest here kosi amanfo hye aban dan na se for no diplomatically the obayan say oh muntwa so no o social media catch say they should continue say aban na adwen say obebo omo he will come back and rescue them. In a normal day you don't expect any president to say this, but waka so that tells you the kind of game I play. And this visa revision, revocation, as if for me.
Yeah.
Say cost any, and because the World Cup is coming, he's scared. Say it will be a ticket for a lot of people to come into this country, and then they will not leave.
They will not go back.
I'm telling you, Nippon will be free Africa, especially because World Cup, no. So I'm 100,000, and 50,000 will stay. People are going up because they want to come back. Yeah, there are people who will genuinely come back. So he's using these measures. And another day, FIFA benya access to bring countries. It will be very tight. Make sure that Nippon or corner where you will be your kroma and on our quad. There are legitimate guns, however. And it's the reason why, but some of this list in the coming few days, he will revise it and most of the country will be taken out. That's what I'm saying. Oh, no, he's not stable.
But that's what
yes. Just market these countries here, women. In a few days to come, you see yourself to be revised, and some countries, and behind the scenes, country will be start negotiating. And or maybe if you want to say yes, I name away. And whenever your name is mentioned like this, then you have to engage the department. The State Department just to have negotiation. Then that is how he, because on the game is American first. He's not looking at any other thing. Obi or tracing so Greenland there. Obi Island on what transfer Bunny Mino. Also, Jada Soba Twama and as a minister for Babaji. I know it's on it Nakto and where ya confrontation and as a form. So this is a person on your predictable. So when you're dealing with him, you have to be very careful. And for me, I'm not sure say it's because of our DB Ghana yet, and I'm not sure say it's because of your friend saying a release actually, because the fact of the matter is that Ghana also a sovereign country. We are part of the community of nations. A dear question say you free say your friend say Mkoya, your Kwenya. Yes, you might be concerned about the tone, the language, how and the why. But we are all kind of you may disagree with the tone, the language, and those kind of way, and the timing. Sometimes a here because when Okasa will be until Yati, Kasa TV so or microphone, my microphone. Dear hair no Matianka. At Yatiani BB, and we are just wasting time. Sana, some of the statements don't try it here, and crossing the Togo anywhere. And to know, I know the day, no, or be quite chance on now Okuhua, not found time for Sovereign also. What I say. So I think that, but Abra President Mahama stage, you know, he spoke boldly to people. They were there, everybody in your front. What I say, that was a loud stage. I said, no, but they actually the buyer and kasi media for no. I said there for young Kasayede. What I say, so that stage, you use that opportunity to you hit hard. And that's what the president did. I am that particular way you call Vara. No? So I think that some of these things you have to be very tactical about it. But for me, I think that Donald Trump there and then the visa and as a forum there. Yeah, it's normal.
Football the opposite could be no visit
and engagement with your friends ambassador. No, I think that they are opening the window for Ghana from apply to the US who apply for visa. It's a long queue. But I say because of the World Cup, they are creating a particular time frame. Our person will World Cup, you can apply. But it's not going to be easy. Say you futufra obia sorry. Make us want to find that. Then as a for no chances of getting it are very low because they know so kwa. And Donald Trump, I am very much concerned about some of these things. So people will go, but they will make sure that they will see and send when you're kwanyako. I think say people will be disappointed. They are ending. One could be
TV so
the previous government a lot of people will easily just get in but Trump and in America there sometimes it's some way
all right my man checking me patcho men ka comments ne kakra ne dia aba pa man kan ya na ese my bone kase okay Kwazo fiagbe mama udini ya fache me was say Ivan tops up and pay the wa mama film and yaje lucrative was say more fire then kwazo was say Frank Davis okay tamane ye pe lawyer need no President say good morning. I'm watching you live from Osu, Alberta. Any on the Asama Ivan or say working or the Nebesha who and 70 annual constant cow or say lawyer no Frank Davis. Then Shawal or say Bozet Kwesi. And no who responded to be Anna. I don't really know, but okay. Shawal Nuhu. Also, my who were there, my name is also responded to be comments there. I don't know. Ibrahim Mustafa or say yes, Ivan, this is true. Waboni okay. Good day, Vincent or say more fire. Omar Mohammed. Or also, there's a number can who no Kweku Philip or say good morning, yeah. Please greet Ivan for me. Pacho watida or Hiniba Kwabana or say to or say guys, Pacho no dear me to assure ye. Ben Kofi Mensa or say good morning. I love the show. The Reset Ghana need to take action against the illegal activities behind the Ashama District Police Station. The illegal things are young girls under prostitution and selling of hard drugs. Some comments appeal to us one of the Baumia and or supporting no and Calicia Amwa or say yeah good morning. I want to know if American government has been dealing with Auditor General reports because I see it's one of useless thing in this country called Ghana. Now America do the Auditor General report to be there. Asamba ukureni Dawood, I say yeah, good morning. Nice submission by your guest. I love it. God bless you. Please, can you tell your management to put you on multi TV? Patro increases. I say now can volume no. Allergen see my. New kind was say hey. I say Ivan, but you are laughing. Why? This is bullshit. I say no can see my one say. Kwame Kwame Jandam. Now we did here. Science said the only Nkrofo be say Ghana need credible and competent leadership. Okay, on also Baumia and no support no. Okay, ni okay. Steven Joe comments in the door so Mark Ochre Nyameche Isaac Marcus Solomon there's one who named that I said late comer and I quite any late in Abro so why appointing Nyadia obey me about translate is to prevent an answer. It's Nyadia be my ken or crana waba. Tinyambo I just said next week in Yebe Huno. All right. Innocent or last say you comment na fe yempon. Yes, sorry.
So yeah, I think that maybe you know Ken Ofori Attah matter no issue Ghana for very much.
Yeah. You were interested in
that. Me say ne lawyer ya can say me ko kan be say said nam tema kro the moja na woni mu na Ken Ofori Attah de adwongo na woni mu. Oh yes, I say palm kernel we in the woni mu and that tells you. Yeah, that is the language on nama all kan. And for me, like I said,
but they had the opportunity and the power to bring Sedinam.
She left this country
because someone the prosecuting no more
power. Now measures are far advanced to get her extradited. Nobody. Me, I'm telling you, nobody is saying that the woman should stay there.
No.
Advocacy about her, they can offer her equal. And I've told you that in her case, the process are quite advanced.
Yeah.
So Ghana for are asking both to come. But say if there is anybody to blame her, you allow her to leave.
Yeah.
Because or as it is when you were in power, you understand? So for me, Nina ushers into the fold of accountability. Say at this time, no, say umbrella kesiasi of accountability, and we don't want people to get away with their crimes.
Yeah.
So be a bit to establish that conventional red lines there going forward, no. These are the rules of engagement. Yeah, the 2 million officer will tell you name. I buy about power. I want to form a company 10. Sandia no. I'm for young we want to win Bromo brain. I almost take power now. I shall say form a company.
Yeah,
those companies now buying bar man for forming in 10. Be very careful. Be very careful about those things. Because we are bar a Janasania man also. Because you are in a haste. You will foolishly be making mistake. And at the end of the day, no, or to be say did 10 years now. Because the very moment I buy power within the from a company that buy a jumano identity credibility at the early stage. What are some American? So people should not be hasty, rushing, engaging in those things because a day no banner you are no one. Nanya fena me yare na me da kolebu na me yare na me yesei. and come over the years no say na man for the twitwa omo ho o me yare na me doctor say na me we say we are na the doctor nkan hwe. I think we need to be very candid. Yenya kokodro be serve o man a yenya kokodro na ya account to the people. And na be ma manfo nya ahotoso we mu come catch the governance no. It is about the trust and confidence the general public na repose in the enterprise called government. Say anywhere eyeto Entina Sri Lanka, Nipa no withdraw or more trust, and Albania became useless, and they took over the presidency. So the very moment Amanfoba withdraw trust in government, and that government, a seize a losing in legitimacy, and we cannot get to that particular realm. Now, Nema embodying trust and confidence is the accountability where people steal and we pursue them. So Yenina, in a concerted effort, Ken Ofori Attah has decided not to come. Or Nyare Anyashe, he's fighting the system. Because his reluctance and willingness, the inertia, are on his part not to come. No, it demonstrated clearly. Say, "Onimse wa yebibi, on mame yina no." Mugana for our respect for us. Kodimirikana beba, moral, your friends are responsibility alone. No, say respect for the people of this country. Anka wababa yina no, but omuyeng. And into no dear Timothy Gugu among for bank says among for you or this sound class same way you know we are going to be man so I catch us Mayare.
All right, my first Dama.
What's your position on this? What do you think is the way forward?
Good morning. The way forward is that first of all we must manage the economy well. We are failed from a planning perspective. If you look at how we develop our various settlements in this country is the basis of the problem that we are having. Our government should have taken that bold initiative of controlling how developments took place. For instance, Accra has not gotten to a place where we must be building in Amasama. You understand? You go to North Kandishi, Kokomlemle that you are, Adaraka, what sort of quality buildings do we have? You understand? So if we were going to put up story buildings within the CBD district, it will prevent people from moving out of the country. That's the first point. The second point has to do with we over-concentrating on one aspect of transportation, which is road transport. I mean, nowhere in this world, all the cities that are functioning properly in terms of their transportation needs, they do all the transport systems. I mean, at the primary level, you were taught that we had about 4 types of transportation. Road, rail, water, and air. How many of it is at play here? Those that have traveled. I will not even take you to Europe and then America for us to be saying that why are you comparing Ghana to Europe and America? Go to Cairo. Yeah. You go to Johannesburg. Everybody knows that they have metro. What is preventing this country from having a metro system, that's a train system, that will be moving from the 4, we are even lucky, we have only 4 outlets. Accra in Sawam, Accra, Yarifa, Accra, Tema. I think the last one should be Kaswa. What is preventing it? So the solution being proffered by the Vice President is not the solution.
We need the 300 buses.
It is going to create more problems and it's also even going to increase incidents of corruption. But I'm coming there.
But it's a question of not having enough public buses.
That is not the case, because you see...
I mean, the Metro Mass director mentioned
that is not the case.
From 1,000 to just...
It's an avenue for chop. Take it from me. I'm a transporter myself. It's an avenue for corruption. And I will explain to you why Ayalolo buses are not functioning. You understand? Every morning, we have one CBD, Central Business District. So most of us are moving towards a particular spot. So if you bring 1,000 buses onto the road, and you carry passengers towards one direction, what is going to mean that you are going to promote a lot of traffic on the road. They will spend more hours before they go and offload these workers and get back. By that time, people are still queued at the trotro stations. So that is not the solution to it. Get the rails working alongside the road so that the two would be working side by side. You think if the rail is working properly, people are interested in coming all the way from Amasaman and driving or boarding a bus, they will go by the rail.
Yeah, but except in the interim, you cannot build railways, say, in the next 1 month. But you need to solve this at least. You need to provide some temporary measures. Until we fix the railway system, we need buses to offload people. Because what the people are complaining about is that there are no buses. They are queuing for long. Nobody is coming to pick them.
You see, the buses get stuck in the traffic. That is the point, because the buses that were operating in December, November, October of last year, they have not been sold. The buses are available. What has happened is that more people are coming to the city. Now the city is choked. When the buses get to Accra, they take longer time in getting back. And that is why they have devised that strategy of from Tudu to say Circle. They know very well that they are going to Amasaman. Tudu to Circle, they will charge you. They drop you at Circle. Then they start shouting Achimota for you to get on. Because they also want to maximize their returns from it. So it's not about the buses that are not available, but it's because we are all going to one direction. It tells you that we must begin to redefine our CBDs. Why must we have all our ministries concentrated in one place? Why? Someone must convince me why all these ministries must be concentrated in one place. So you have the ministries there. You have adjoining it is Okanshi, which is also a business center. Then you have what's the name again? Makola. So everyone is going towards one direction in Accra, and it is replicated in all the regional capitals. You go to Kumasi, every morning everyone is heading towards the Edum area. So what do you think will happen? And all of us are relying on the road, and so that is not the issue. Then again, the buses that they want to buy, I want to plead with President Mahama and the administration that they must not let these Metro Mass people, those over there together with the Ayalolo or whatever, go and procure these buses for us. At best, they must guarantee for the private sector to go and buy their buses and come and run it. I tell you, if they don't do that, buses that are supposed to cost only 10,000, these people will give it to us 100,000. It is the reason why you have a lot of the Ayalolo buses parked. The Ayalolo buses, interestingly, we were involved. We were part of those that brought Scania to this country. Go and ask how much each bus cost or costed the nation. They inflated the price times five. So at the end of the month, how much they are supposed to pay back as a repayment, they couldn't generate enough, all goes into the repayment, and they are left with almost nothing for maintenance. And the cost of maintaining these buses at Scania is not cheap. So if you are paying back your loan, using all the money you are mobilizing to pay back the loan, and you are not left with nothing to maintain, when buses get broken, how are you going to fix them? That is why they are there. That the average lifespan of any Scania bus is 20 years. That's minimum. When you are doing even moderate maintenance. These buses were procured in 2016. Why is it that about 50% are broken?
Maybe that's a question we will ask Kamaldeen in his party, why they allowed it to break down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe because, I mean, let me come to Ivan. I mean, you can relate to a large extent to what most of these young people are saying, because you do hear from many other young people, and it does appear that that's the narrative. They're struggling. The government is trying to bring 300 buses. Solomon said that's not the way to go.
Yes, I think it's quite unfortunate watching the scenes unfold on various screens. We've been watching them on social media and other TV screens, and it's quite disappointing that commuters will have to go through such a hassle to get to their various destinations. Looking at this particular problem, I think, just like Solomon said, I agree with him. We fail to plan, and it's the reason why we are where we are today. Like he rightly mentioned, if you go to our neighboring countries, like if you go to Morocco, Casablanca, they have some of these nice buses and train that take people around. And I think if over the years we had concentrated on some of these aspects by maximizing the options that we had, maybe we would have been able to take care of some of these challenges. But that notwithstanding, looking at the current challenge, I think we need to come up with certain short-term measures to address the challenge, because this is no time to be thinking about going to build, train, or whatever. And I think that is where the option being proposed by the Vice President is quite an ideal one, considering the current situation that we have, because there is a crisis. What do? You need to address it before you move to the next chapter to look at a long-term solution. And so for me, procurement of the buses and government attempt to deal with the situation is a way of bringing an immediate relief to the people, because some of the drivers have taken advantage of the situation, just like they rightly said. They don't even want to go to the station where people queue up. they're just running around town, picking people, creating a congestion, and which has also brought some sort of a Christmas price for those who will go there, charge at their own rate, and then at the end of the day, bring this kind of this thing to commuters. For me, it's a challenge, but we must also be looking at the long term and the other alternatives that are available for us. For instance, the rail that they mentioned, I see no reason why, if you look at how Accra has expanded and how choked it has become, and if you look at our roads in the morning, you barely takes about 2 hours to get to your various destination. You understand? And for me, that is a challenge that we are not looking at. So as a country, we need to prioritize and look at the various options that are available for us. For instance, why is it that everybody will have to drive to central business town Accra? People drive to work. Government can come up with an initiative where we may have buses for government workers. Those coming to Accra, you wake up in the morning, you park your car at home, you join the bus. These buses should be able to offer such convenience for people to travel at ease, so that people will not be traveling. Everybody traveling in their own car, creating this kind of
privacy and convenience.
Yeah, I understand, but we have a challenge, and our objective is looking at how we can address some of these challenges. People drive to work because there are no available alternatives. You understand? If you go to Europe, people have cars, but they decide to park it home and join train because other means are available. But the problem here is that none is available. And if you look at some of the trottoir, they may not be convenient for some people to join. But if there is other option that is quite convenient, I think that will be enticing and people will join. And also we'll be looking at the other alternative like train from Achimota to Accra. Sometimes we could have come up with some other means of transporting people via train to Accra without going through such a hustle. These things are often seen in the morning. In the evening after work, it's another hustle, you understand? So for me, I think it's a major challenge that people are going through, and the governance, one of the best way is to ease the challenge that is very immediate, affecting the people. And I think that is the thing that we need to focus now. But very often, we are very reactionary in our approach dealing with some of this challenge, because I'm not sure that is the first time some of these things are popping up. But it comes, we gather on TV, we speak to it, and then we move on. The next chapter will come, and then we speak to it. I think we need to move from the reactionary phase to a more actionable phase, where we come up with pragmatic long-term solution that will deal with some of these challenges, that we may not come back once again in the next days to come and discuss some of these challenges, because it's a real challenge, and we need to elevate such a conversation beyond the frontiers of partisan politics, because we are all guilty. That is why I started by saying we failed to plan, and it's the reason why we're here. If you look at Accra, how choke it is, let us come up with other alternatives, you understand, and those alternatives for me is going to help. And one of the immediate way of resolving some of these things, coming out with buses that will transport people to various workplaces at ease, so that there will be certain sort of enticement for people to park their cars at home. And again, if you look at a central business town, if you go to the central London, there are places, if you want to go there in the morning, you have to pay more to enter, you understand? And I think such introduction will also help us here, because people drive to the central business town sometimes for nothing, you understand? So I think if you come out with some levy, that will also deter people from taking up some of these places, and we'll be able to reduce how choked the system has become. So for me, I think it's a short-term and then a long-term kind of this thing. That
you're just talking about plan. In fact, I think if there's one thing that you can credit Ghana for, is that we have the plans. It's about the implementation. In fact, there's a document that was put together by the National Development Planning Commission, the Transport Infrastructure Framework, and it gives vivid details relative to how to address our transport. Even a national transport plan. Yeah, there's a national transport policy plan, which was, of course, put together in 2020. So we have the plan, but the implementation of it is the challenge. Now, let me come to Kama. I mean, we saw quite a number of interventions during the government. I think the latter part of it, we saw the introduction of the electric buses, about 50 of them. We understand that was the next phase that was supposed to come. There was also an initiative or an attempt to introduce the Sky Train, and today we know what that has become. It's become
did you say Sky Train?
Yes, there was a move. There was an attempt to try and introduce that. It was part of an attempt to, improve mobility within the urban sector. But we know what that has culminated into now. People have to answer questions in court for that. I mean, the ideas were brilliant, but clearly the implementation were problematic. And even Ayaya Lolo, for instance, the former John Mahama, when he left in 2016, handed it over to you. It was a brilliant idea, all right? The rapid bus transport. But then now we hear that quite a number of them are now, looking to be repaired, and the dedicated lanes that were put together to try and make these things, effective didn't work. Why didn't you give us a good plan? Because today we wouldn't be talking about this if, something solid had come from you.
You succeeded in contradicting yourself this morning, Ms. Bell, and I have to draw your attention to it. Why didn't you give us a good plan? And in the next breath, you were telling us that in 2020 we developed a comprehensive plan. You said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah, but that's something you said. Yeah, but we saw you try to implement
let me proceed.
Yeah, but we saw you try to implement it.
I am saying that, and in one breath, the MPP government made sure that we had a comprehensive transport plan or transportation plan for this country. Then, of course, at the tail end of your question to me or your submission, you say, why didn't you give us a good plan?
Yeah, a good plan that the people can can relate. The plan was just left in the books for us.
I thought we were going to discuss this dispassionately.
Yeah.
However, when politics comes in a bit, you will have to clear certain mischief when it arises. When you look at strategically, the growth of the public sector transport in this country, okay, it is always the MPP that think deep about it.
How so?
Why? The metro mass that we are now priding ourselves with was born by the MPP. Okay? Popularly called the Kufuor buses. We thought that we needed to revolutionize the public sector transportation to ensure that at least at the end of the day, every single person who is commuting on our roads is sorted.
That is not accurate.
It's very accurate.
You know
why? I am saying, please, just have a present. I'm saying the metro mass was actually brought in by the MPP. That is not to say that we do not have a history.
Yeah, good.
Okay? It was under Hila Lima, okay, that the Tata buses and the Osa buses, when the then Harry Sawyer was the transport minister, they introduced it. I'm aware of that. But I'm saying, from that time till 2000, when Kufuor came into power, the MPP sat down and thought and said, look, we have a history. This country, even the railways we're talking about, when you take Kwame Nkrumah's time to the other governments, a champion and all that, they had developed a plan for railways. But like you rightly said, plans are always on paper. But we do not try as much as possible to implement some of these things practically, which is quite bad. But like I said, we need to actually have this discussion without seriously bringing in politics. If we really want to solve it, no, please, I've not said we've done that. Okay? If we as soon as we introduce, like Ivan said, as soon as we introduce partisanship in it, they suffer. I suffer, you suffer, our young people who are out there commuting day in, day out to school suffer. Our mothers who commute to the market suffer. Everybody suffers. So when we sit here and reduce the conversation to partisanship, we are doing a disservice.
Why do you think we have struggled to deal with it?
Let me agree with Solo's submission when he says that we need to strategically decentralize. Having a single CBD, which is a central business district, it's not helpful. Take a Greater Accra, for instance. We have places like Shai Osudoku, places like Kasua. Okay, Kasua is central region anyway, but let's even come close to Malam, wherever that is within Greater Accra, those districts and municipalities around. I saw a model in Saudi Arabia. And I was asking myself, why can't we have such a model? If you're looking for mobile phones, there's a particular district, business district you go, only mobile phones and accessories.
Same in UAE.
And you have no business going towards a single place. If you're looking for groceries, tomatoes and all those things, there is a market for it dedicated. So for example, when we take Nima market or Malata market, develop it for groceries. Okay, then you go say, for example, Greater Accra, fish market is there. That is there. So people will not wake up and everybody will be rushing and trooping to one particular place to get what they want. Now you would have succeeded in ensuring that you create more channels for your transportation needs. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to ease the traffic situation in your country. Now, two, our inner city roads. Our inner city roads. Every government comes and say, look, I am declaring the year of roads. This one say, I am doing a big push. This one say, I am doing that. All rhetorics, mostly. We end up doing nothing. I checked the budget of the Ministry of Roads, and it's just about 5.3 billion Ghana cedis. And out of that, they'll be paying for old contractors. They'll be paying new contractors for new jobs. They will surely complain that it's inadequate. I checked the budget of Ministry of Transport. It's just 1.3 billion Ghana cedis for 2026. Minister of Transport, just 1.3 billion, and he has to deal with sea, he's dealing with air, at the same time dealing with what? Okay, aviation ministry take care of air, but of course dealing with the sea and dealing with the land and dealing with rail.
Is he dealing with aviation?
Aviation is part of it. Very well. And you have given 1.3 billion allocation to such a ministry for policy planning and implementation. How are they going to work? We will end up talking, doing nothing. So I think that this decentralization thing that we spoke about is so important. I think that the Ministry of Roads and Highways should also consider getting our inner city roads fixed. My brother who spoke earlier spoke about he living in Ashoma Estate, or was it Ashoma Estate? Very well. Go to Ashoma Estate. Take the main road, and then as soon as you take a detour to go into Ashoma Estate, it's terrible. Okay? So the trottoir driver or the private person who has his vehicle, who cares about the suspension of his car, will say, I will not even go there. Then you come to stand there for 1 hour, 2 hours without getting a vehicle, because nobody wants to ply on those roads.
Yeah.
Okay? So to solve some of these problems, we need to be very realistic about it. Let the government of the day tell us, 2026 budget, inner city roads in Accra, we plan to do 84 kilometers. And of the 84 kilometers through urban roads, we are doing Ashoma Estate 3 kilometers. Strategically, we are doing this 4 kilometers. Put that together and aggregate it. By the end of the year, you will have done the 84 or the 100 kilometers within. The next year again, another budget comes and consider only inner city roads. When we have our roads fixed, that driver who was refusing to go to Ashoman or to go to Ashalebotwe or to go to whichever area, that driver will say, no, there are roads which are good there, I can apply there and of course get that. And the person who of course would have spent 1 hour or 2 hours looking for vehicle and not getting will also be sorted. Okay? Now we move to the railways to complement or to augment our fleets or whatever transport opportunities that we have in the market. I mean, railways is very essential. Government of the day, why can't you encourage, like Solu said, guaranteeing for the private sector, instead of saying we want to build such infrastructure? I had the opportunity of driving from Istanbul to Bursa in Turkey, and it's about 334 kilometers or so. Now with a friend who is a Turkish, it is a first-class express road. So I asked him a question. I said, how is government funding? He said, no, government has no business in this road.
Business.
Completely.
No
he said, these are private, yes. He said, these are private people who constructed it. All government does is to facilitate.
Absolutely.
Okay? And maybe tax, exemptions and all that. But what government does is that come and construct a road, then they put mechanisms in place for you to operate the road and pay yourself. So in his vehicle, he had this electronic device. That device is always charged like we charge our mobile phones. As soon as it is not charged, that you cannot have access on that road. So you prepay before you even use the road. So you understand? He goes to, that is the digitalization that we're talking about. He goes to pay for the usage of that road. And the money goes to pay the contractor who you spent his money to construct such roads.
But in the case of Ghana, where you know the conditions of the ordinary Ghanaian, if you want to go to the OT region and implement this, you know, it's going to be very challenging for the people to even use the road, because the conditions of the people there clearly is different from the condition of the people in the area that you're talking about. So the realities of the Ghanaian people here, it might be quite challenging.
I disagree.
I mean,
it all boils down to leadership. Don't tell me OT region, the people in OT region are not interested in good routes.
They are interested.
Absolutely.
But this is your system of they should pay before they use it.
So I have a contractor who says that, look, Hamza is a contractor, my good self is a contractor, I'm a contractor, maybe Solo is a contractor. Okay, government comes up with a policy to say that, look, we want 3 or 4 consortiums coming together to construct the 400-kilometer road from Accra to Bimbilla.
And toll it.
And toll it for this. And you tell me the people in Oti will not be happy? No. There is nothing like that in place. What government is doing is now to say we are announcing that 30 billion Ghana cedi of our oil money is going to be used for big push. And what is the big push? We want to give contractors work to go out there and construct the roads, and then you don't have the money to give them for mobilization. They don't even equally have the money. But when the consultant put together, and then the bank see that they are serious people, they want to do this project, and then they evaluate it and realize that there will actually be returns, okay, and that there will be benefits out of it, the banks will be ready to support, and government will also support.
So one of the things we need to deal with has to do with the quality of the roads, and if there are alternative good roads, of course, the congestion in most of our roads will be reduced. But then another issue has to do, and fundamentally, and I'm hoping you can respond to that, having to do with the Ayalolo buses, of course, in 2016 when they were introduced. Clearly, they were probably one of the ideas that were intended to deal with, to improve urban mobility, all right? I mean, talk to me about what happened to Ayalolo.
What actually gave birth to Ayalolo? It was the BRT, policy that the President John Dramani Mahame's government actually gave birth. I think it started with Atta Moses' government, and then, of course, ran into John Dramani Mahame's first term. Okay? And I am told, I stand to be corrected, that they had some funding to implement such a project. Okay? It wasn't entirely the government of Ghana, basically. Again, they had some challenges. Okay? One, the roads that they wanted to even fix to ensure that the BRT buses, Ayalolo buses, have a designated routes did not work. They planned, of course, they planned that from Circle to, say, Achimota, there should be a particular route for BRT buses. That has never happened.
but you
don't have the roads and you brought in the buses. That's one.
They did dedicate some lanes.
They did not. Look, let's be fair to ourselves. Implementation was problematic. No, what you needed to do, they did some. They had some. They took Kaneshi Road. The Kaneshi Road that we know on the Kaneshi stretch, or Doko stretch. That road is still what it is. Yet we are told that the BRT buses were dedicated on that line. Which particular lane was for the buses? Tell me. I drive on that lane. So did we lie to ourselves? I'm saying that if you did not put facilities in place, you did not put mechanisms in place to ensure that the BRT system, which was a good system anyway, okay, works well. Any government that comes and meets such challenges, okay, would also have to suffer.
But it was, you had 8 years, you couldn't improve.
I listened to the Metro Mass interview guy that you interviewed, who said that, look, our problem are not buses. Or even the buses. If they are buses, we have over 1,000 in our fleet. Over 1,000. But only 130 is what? Roadworthy.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be worried as a country of our maintenance culture. That we put people there to work. We employ people, and then they come to sit there. We use our money to go and procure buses, bring those buses in. Someone sits there, watch it, and call himself a transport manager of that company. Other person says, I am the engineer of that company. The other person says, I am the maintenance manager or whatever of that company. And yet those buses break down, and then nobody is actually questioned. And then we say we want money to go and buy new buses again. I could not have agreed more with Solo when he said that is not the solution.
Interesting. Let me
so finally, I think that the announcement by the vice president, even if they're going to procure the buses, the problem is not about the buses. The problem is how we can ensure that our maintenance culture is looked at and looked at properly.
Great. Let me come to a lawyer now. I mean, you've heard a lot. You've heard a lot. And it appears that the 300 buses solution, yes, in the medium term, it's great, but on a long term, that should not be the way. Well, what's the long-term solution to this from what you said?
Good morning to you again, Ms. Roy, and of course my colleagues in the studio. First of all, it is regrettable that we are at this stage as far as national transportation is concerned.
Yeah.
And so I think that on behalf of the ruling National Democratic Congress, it is only fair that I communicate to the good people of this country that we appreciate the challenges that they are faced with, especially when it comes to public transportation. We have been monitoring the spirited advocacy that your media platform is championing in that sector, intended to bring government institutions to the fire of accountability, if you would like, and also a constant reminder to public officials that indeed, when it comes to serving the good people of this country, we must not take it for granted. And so, as a responsible government that appreciates the challenges in that sector, it is only fair that we assure the good people of this country that as part of the many excesses that we inherited and the promise to reset and fix many of these challenges, this government once more, with a proven track record, would do the needful in attempting to bring finality to this challenge. This is not the first time. Remember that under the first administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we woke up to that age-long unfortunate reality of doom so, where the NDC government at the time had to bear the brunt of successive years of failure on the part of successive governments to invest in the energy sector. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama accepted responsibility and made a pledge to end doom so. And I'm glad to state that at the time he was leaving office, the investments in the energy sector alone in terms of generation that we experienced we never experienced it since 1992. And not even the MPP in their wildest of political trajectory can undermine that. Despite the fact that in the last 8 years, they failed to even contribute 1 megawatt of power to that investments that were made. So today, His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC government, after another 8 years in opposition and back to government, is faced with the reality of transportation challenges, and we would have no excuse than to ensure that we at least leave it better than we came to meet, and we are committed to doing so. So my caution to those who are tasked with the responsibility of getting things right on behalf of the president is that Ghanaians are watching, and that we cannot afford to play with this challenge, because transportation is an important measure of economic well-being when it comes to the people of this country. And so, in as much as we are working assiduously to get our economy back on track, it is connected, inextricably linked to the transport sector as well. And if we fail in the transport sector, be rest assured that no amount of economic rates that we throw out would make sense to the good people of this country, because that is the bedrock of the rural economy or the economy on the ground. Transportation, people have to move to do businesses. Time is an essential part of business success. And so we must begin to look at it. And I'm glad Her Excellency Vice President Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman has indicated that President Mahama is committed and the entire government is committed to finding a fix. But you see, coming back to the nitty-gritties of the issue, Ms. Bao, first of all, I agree with all of you that the challenge with this country has nothing to do with the plan. We have all the plans. The plans were developed even during the time of Nkrumah and the likes. And so if you look at our transportation sector, I think basically what is the problem is the implementation plan. In terms of policy-wise, we have all the policy plans in place, but implementation continues to be a problem. And I disagree with my brother for the first time, Sulu, when he makes the point that indeed government should move away from procuring the buses and rather empower the private sector to do so. One important thing that people take for granted is that, just like I indicated, that the transport sector is an economic sensitive zone we cannot take for granted. It is also part of the national security of a country. No country worth its salt must relinquish its role in public transport sector. It is not for nothing that if you go to places like the United Kingdom, indeed government is the major shareholder in many of the buses we see on the streets of London. Because in terms of a national disaster and the movement of people, government must not struggle in the hands of the private sector, especially when it comes to transportation. And so I can understand his concerns about the possibility of corruption in the procurement of these buses. But I still hold a strong view that the government of the day must lead that sector in terms of investment. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with government directing that there's a need for us to bring in more buses. What I would advise on this table, and hopefully the Transport Ministry takes it up, is to ensure that these buses are not procured solely by government. Government must bring private sector on board. Those who are willing to partner government to be able to secure these buses. Because over the years where government procures them on their own right, and on the books of the Consolidated Fund, management has always been a problem.
Yeah.
We have seen many other people in the private sector who procure their own buses, how they are able to effectively manage these buses and make profits. So it should be possible, like we experienced in London, for government to be able to have 60% control and 40% to the private sector. And when it comes to the management of these buses, government should offload the management of that arrangement to the private sector.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
For efficient handling. That's one. Secondly, Ms. Bao, you see, the problem over the years, in terms of regardless of the number of buses we bring in as a government, you would have a problem if your arrangements with these international partners, those who produce the buses, if you do not have a spare parts component of that particular transaction.
They do have that. It's just maintenance culture. They do have.
If you do not, you see, as part of the negotiations, when you procure the buses, if you are buying it from China, it should be possible for government to deliberately empower at least 2 or 3 businessmen, give them the needed guarantees to set up spare parts shops in this country that will feed that bus fleet and others. Many of the instances, many of the broken down buses, go and ask the MD of Metro Mass or the Lolo people. In most cases, the buses are spoiled over minor faults. And the mechanics tell them that, oh, we don't have the spare parts. We're not going to import it from China. And it sits there for close to 1 month, 3 months, in some cases 1 year. So that tells you. So if you are bringing in buses, take advantage of that to expand your spare parts industry. Formalize it. We cannot on daily basis continue to just rely on, what do you call it, the spare parts market. No, we cannot. Let us use many of these state interventions as an intentional mechanism.
Let's just try and see. At the moment, we're not too sure when the buses are going to arrive in the country. Of course, there's indication the buses will come, but before the buses do arrive, I mean, people are still struggling to get vehicles.
Yes,
so
but
what's the plan?
The plan is in the medium term.
Yes,
like I indicated. I know as a matter of fact that the government has directed, as a matter of urgency, for Metro Mass to, as quickly as possible, look at the fleets that are broken and those who can quickly fix and bring them back on the road. Same directive has been given to Ayalolo to work on assiduously. Then also, we are engaging with the private sector and ensuring monitoring as well to ensure that at least, if for nothing at all, there are speculations of deliberate withdrawal of buses, simply because people wanted to take advantage of a pricing window. And so government, through national security, is also effectively monitoring to ascertain the veracity or otherwise of many of these fears and to see how we can effectively engage the private sector to ensure that many of the fears that they have are handled in a way that can bring many of these buses we suspect are being pulled away to inform the pricing window for the private sector.
Because, there's a situation at Circle, at the lorry station. You go, you see people queuing, and at the same time, you see so many cars parked.
Exactly.
You see people queued for hours.
Yes.
And there are buses parked, and you're wondering, are these buses not supposed to be working?
Many of them are. That is the point I'm making. They are trying to dictate transport fares. And so that is the private sector for you. And that is why it is dangerous for government to leave transportation to the private sector alone. And that's why in my initial submission, I indicated that there's a need for government to have an interest. Well, you see, Ms. Bao, whichever way you look at it, if the buses are there and are not operational, it is the responsibility of this government. It is not the responsibility of the NPP or United Party. It is the responsibility of the National Democratic Congress to ensure that those buses work. And I am telling you on authority that discussions have started, engagements have started, and the national security is playing a critical role in that regard. The human face of the national security to ensure that at least we get many of these buses to move owned by the private sector. I see. It is important for you to make me land in a way that is safe and sound. You see, so like I indicated, there's the need for us to develop a space pass. If you go to many metro mass, a novel introduction, you cannot take that credit away from the New Patriotic Party. And most importantly, to His Excellency President John Agyekum Kufuor, because it was an expansion of the OSA transport policy, Omnibus Service Authority, if I remember clearly, because those days when we were growing up, these were the buses on our roads. So President Kufuor, largely maybe because of his exposure to the London system, also decided to expand it with the introduction of Metro Mass, a novel initiative. But what we realized that the problem had to do with the maintenance culture. Is it not possible for us in this country to have a national maintenance authority that would have regional offices and if necessary, district offices that would not, mind you, rely on the consolidated fund for its survival? If Metro Mass is going to service there, they pay cash. If STC is going to service there, they pay cash, as we all do when it comes to our vehicles. Government should just provide that legislation and ensure that they do not do so on credit to government agencies. And be rest assured, the difficulty we have with maintenance in this country will be dealt with. I advocated for same, even for many of our state institutions. You have maintenance managers, they sit there, they are unable to work because they don't even have the resources. And so in many cases too, you have bulbs of state-owned enterprises going off, fans not working, ACs not working, including our own Parliament of Ghana. If you go to Parliament today, there are air conditions that have not worked for more than 2-3 years. MPs are unable to sit in their offices.
It's so serious, honestly.
Because of the maintenance culture.
Yeah.
Is it not possible for us to have another entity tasked with the responsibility of maintaining many of these state institutions, where when they go to render services, rather than just empty invoices and carrying debt away, they are obligated to pay for that maintenance authority to deal with it. Yeah. Even our airport, Terminal 3, many of the bulbs are beginning to falter. Bathrooms are beginning to malfunction. So it is an attitudinal problem and needless bureaucracy. I remember a politician in the United Kingdom, Tony Blair, described it as the inertia of bureaucracy when it comes to our public sector. You see, things are simply not working. But as a government whose responsibility is not to lament, like His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama indicated, our job is to fix these problems. I am quite convinced, Ms. Bao, that with the support of all of you, especially those of you in the media, you would continue to hold our feet to the fire. So that I was just drawing your attention to something. The expectations of the government.
You know, the idea to have a, this maintenance authority or maintenance, agency and put it at a district level. I think one of the things we should also seriously consider, especially when you have to do with transport, operation in our country, is we should try as much as possible to decentralize the operations, transport management in our country. Because I struggle to understand why the people in Ablekuma are having a challenge with transport to get buses. And to solve that, we have to go to the Ministry of Transport to deal with the simple challenge that's happening in Ablekuma, which ordinarily the Central Municipal Assembly could have easily resolved it.
Oh, that's a good one.
You go to KJB, and we have to move from KJB all the way to Accra to the Ministry of Transport, wait for them to procure some 300 buses before we resolve the transport issues in KJB, when the KJB District Assembly could have easily resolved it. Maybe going forward, it's time for us to empower these district assemblies and municipal assemblies to seriously invest in transport? Because I'm sure in London they do that. Even in New York they do that. They have their transport.
That's why I was saying that I don't believe, and I still maintain the point that because I'm in the sector, that government has to be involved in procurement. And
he is a private investor in that, so he's protecting the idea.
No, about the protection of interest. What have you been discussing?
He has been in that industry for over 10 years.
So when
that's the number of buses running.
When people are when you are given an
so there are those making it difficult for people.
you don't know what is it, because when people are given, let's say Ayalolo, they were given 245 buses to start. Is that not the case? The presumption is that 5 years after that, you must not be seeing 245, but rather about 500 buses.
That's true.
The same with Metro Mass. In our case,
the MPP did not contribute to the fleet, so you just have to stay down.
The more government invests in the more we have reduced number of buses on the roads. And I keep telling you that anytime government involves itself in procurement, prices shoot up.
That's true.
They overinflate it. Nobody say man must not eat, but in this country they eat with both hands and legs
and everything.
So the maintenance culture you are talking about, most often they are left with nothing to engage in maintenance. That is the truism. That is the reality of the day. And even when there are funds available, those are the maintenance units also inflate. They are going to buy ball joint. Ball joint at Abuso Kada will cost you about 1,000. At Metro Mass, they will sell it to you at 5,000. The one who is preparing it will say, so corruption is so much. That's why government must come in as the one providing the framework and the guarantee. Then the government's contribution will be the guarantee, because you don't provide guarantee and go and sit back. So in countries who are managing it very well, when they provide the guarantee, then they also provide the authority. You go to Cairo, we have the Cairo Transport Authority. Nigeria here, we have their Lagos Authority that is managing their transport. That is where government would then intervene to regulate prices. Because you can also not leave it to the private sector to say that, go and do your own thing. You come in, you make sure that the buses are quality, the prices are okay for the ordinary Ghanaian, then we all move it. Other than that, when you leave it to government, they don't have the capacity. They don't have the these buses that they are coming. Look, the short-term measure. There is no bus company or bus manufacturing company that manufactures 30 buses or 50 buses are waiting for buyers. That will be putting your money in stock. So what is going to happen is that government is now going to order. So when you order, they have to manufacture. How long is it going to take for them to manufacture the buses, for them to even put it on sea for it to get here? So it is all
I think we saw the Deputy Minister of Transport visit Egypt, I think some 2 or 3 months. We saw some of the buses.
No, those buses are even knowing. He visited when? 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, I think about 2 months.
Yes, because it has to go through the manufacturing process.
Deputy Transport, that was just about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, she was in Egypt.
It was just 3 weeks ago. The inspector.
They are now manufacturing.
Some are done
we saw were
yes,
ready.
Yes, because you see, no company manufactures buses and put them there expecting buyers.
Yeah.
Now you have to raise your financial instrument. If you are buying by a letter of credit or a guarantee or so, all these have to be. So it is not 2 or 3 months. But what we are talking about now is an immediate solution to the problem. I'm saying that we have buses. Come on, were you facing this issue in November? The buses are there, but the traffic situation on the roads. No private sector man who is paying huge interest rate at the bank will say, I'm parking my bus because I want to get what? Increased fares. Then how do you go and pay your loans?
No, Solo, but that's why I disagree with you.
No, point that.
But when it comes to strike actions and the drivers declare strikes,
a lot of them, they don't mind them.
For 1 week.
It is only one.
But some do. And you
only 2 hours. They will go back and then go to their various
present the picture as though
what I'm saying is that
feasible. It is.
It is not just feasible that people park their buses 5 days, 10 days, and say that we are waiting fair increments.
People, the associations do. They direct. And
but the GPR2, when people talk about GPR2, how many of them, what buses do they have? You go and have someone call himself bookman. He has never bought a tie before. He says he's a bookman, he's a GPR. He doesn't have any clue about what is happening. So let us begin to, as it were, like also decentralized. In this country, under the current dispensation, we must even begin to have feeders. For instance, the limited buses that are in the system, if you are coming from, say, Kaswa, there should be a system immediately where we will bring them to, say, Malam Junction, for the buses to take them to the central business district. So we decongest for the time being. I have tracked all the vehicle lorry stations, and I see the buses available. But it is just traffic. How many hours do you spend in traffic, even with the buses not moving? But the roads are supposed to be free with the buses not available. Is that the case? But is the case? Go on the road and go and see the traffic. Accra is supposed to reach 9 million population by 2050. If currently Greater Accra, we are having 4 million, this is the problem. The solution must be holistic. Go back to the rail. You go to London. London is not entirely, or the UK is not entirely government managing anything. They provide the framework, and the private sector runs the buses and the train. You go to the UAE, it's the same thing. You go to, look, a city like Istanbul, it has a population of close to 20 million. How are they able to manage their traffic situation? Because they have invested in varied systems. We cannot continue to rely on road transport. I think it is a village attitude.
I think I agree.
A village attitude.
I agree with you. On a long term, we need to do that. Well, great.
But Ms. Bar, just the last point.
You know, I think yes,
let me just. He's coming to, but let us not create the impression as though we are also not manage our transport system very well. In the 50s and 60s, all this we are talking about was available. We had a running train, we had running buses. Buses had numbers that were designated. This one is going to Tudu, this one is going to. We have deteriorated as a country.
Let me just pick quick thoughts from Ivan, then I'll come.
I think maintenance is a culture, like we said. It's something that has not been imbibed in us. That is why over the years we overlook some of these critical aspects, and very often the state invests in something and it goes away. I think setting up an authority might not solve the problem when it comes to, because it's something that is not in us. You understand? So I think we need to come up with certain initiative that will revive that culture, because you say it is a maintenance culture that must be revived. If you go to the various secondary schools, I don't know whether you've been to any of the secondary schools, look at the government bungalows, go and look at the building. Human beings are occupying it. But if you look at the nature, how dilapidated they've become, you will be shocked. But these are elite occupying these things, these houses, you understand? So for me, I think it's something that we need to revive as people.
It's an attitude and I think.
Exactly. You understand? Yeah. We need to take a critical look at it and see how we can revive that particular. And government will also have to come up with measures just to potentiate some of these efforts, so that at the end of the day, government will not end up investing money in areas where those monies will go waste. And again, when we are coming up with policy alternative and options like resolving some of these challenges, I think we need to do some proper consultation and engagement to be able to realize what will be effective. For instance, with this SkyTrain thing, we didn't need, at the time, as we speak, we don't even have trains that run on the ground. You were thinking about trains, you understand? So I think some of these options must go through proper consultative process, so that whatever become the option will be viable one that will benefit the people of this.
Let me pick the thoughts of some of our audience.
Thank you, Mr. Back, for this opportunity. This morning, my energy is very down, and I'm so sad. Ghana will be 70 years next year, hopefully next year. And we are actually sitting on the national discourse discussing the same issues. That even wasn't a problem during the early days we had our independence, and it's quite unfortunate. Discussing this matter about transportation, we always say we shouldn't politicize it. But we speaking the truth to ourselves as a country, we always know everything in this country boils down to politics. And I don't know how certain governments in this country, certain party in this country, I don't know whether if it is in development they don't want or what, because a certain government will come and implement some policies, and another party will come and erase it.
So do you support the 300 buses the government, you think is a good move?
Oh, I think it's a good move, because currently we have to find a solution to this problem before we even go consider the long-term problem. The long-term solution rather. We are talking about transportation, and we are saying it shouldn't be only by car or something. A certain government came with an idea. When we are talking about transportation, we should be mindful that it's only not about here in Accra. It is not only in Accra people are finding it difficult to get cars to their various destinations. Let's go to Takoradi, somewhere 2012 coming to 2016. The then government constructed a railway from Harbour to Kojokrom. That constitutes about 14.2 kilometers. At that time I was in SHS, so I had the opportunity to take train from my place to Takoradi Harbour every single day. Fast forward to after 2016, when another party came into power, and this train I was working before 2016 stopped working.
And since then, it's not been working.
And since then, it's not been working.
Interesting. Interesting. So what I understand, I'll come back to you guys, and we'll get a thought from all of you on this subject and also on another subject. We understand Solomon has to be on our sister station, and he needs to move very briefly. And for that, I've been prompted that we should pick a thought quickly on what's happening in the MPP, because we are switching to that now, having to do with the situation with Professor. No, that's the tag on them, and for saying that, he's been called before the disciplinary committee now. Yeah, just quick thought on it. Then we.
Well, I believe that Prof was right on that occasion.
He was right.
He was
with
right.
What?
We have been saying that this current MPP is Nana People's Party, and not the New Patriotic Party. The last I had an interview with you, one-on-one. Immediately we formed our political party. You asked the same question. I told you that this is not New Patriotic Party. It's Nana People's Party, and Prof has been with this party for so long. He knows too well the character, the make of the New Patriotic Party that he joined. And it is not the same party today. For instance, when last did the party conduct a top-down approach in terms of electing its flag bearer? When last? So if he's telling you that this is not a New Patriotic Party that I signed on to, why would anybody begrudge him? When last do you hear such a magnificent or a high altitude of a group of people who came together to loot? Looting brigade. It is so, something when I see people speak, with all indifference to my brother Kama, I'm very surprised he's able to defend the NPP.
Yeah, but nobody no court has put anybody in prison.
Your former finance minister says he won't come. You say no boss.
No court has given a verdict that somebody has looted.
Let me tell you something.
Those are your words. Nobody has been found guilty of.
The people have looted. The Auditor General has surcharged two personalities in their party, Gifty Owari and then Asibi.
And they are in court for that.
No, they are. For the Auditor General to surcharge means the Auditor General has concluded that indeed you committed that crime. 2.4 billion choppable monies.
I mean,
what are we discussing this morning?
Contestant.
Who is contesting? The person contesting is begging that even the court is fast tracking it. They say the judge is fast tracking the whole thing. Why are you fast tracking? Hey, if you have been accused of something and you believe that you are innocent, wouldn't it be in your interest that the case is dispensed quickly so that you deal with it? Now, a party, someone that does an interview at 9 p.m. The interview was held between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. The general secretary of the party is so unbusy to the extent that, he had nothing to do except to early morning, without consultation with anybody, say, oh, we have referred the matter to the National Executive Committee. Hey, only last year you were in this country when they said they have even granted amnesty to everyone. Those that were facing disciplinary actions, they had granted amnesty to them. Those of us that went, to join the better party, they said, after you should write application letter. But as for that one, it was never going to happen. Now you, the same person that signed the letter, comes back and say that unilaterally, you are referring someone to National Executive Committee. When your party's own constitution mandates you that if there is any disciplinary action, you send it to the disciplinary committee. Because that is where natural justice takes place. That is where Professor FrimpongBoaten will be allowed to also air his views why he made those statements that the party is in this world.
That's why he's been called to the committee to.
Which committee? He said NEC. It is disciplinary committee that's supposed to what? Recommend their actions to NEC for NEC to take a decision. Now, as part of the composition of NEC, you have regional chairman being part of it. Are you telling me that between Abonye and Professor FrimpongBoaten, Professor FrimpongBoaten's utterances ought to be subjected to disciplinary action as against Abonye's own? What about Buga? What about Untumi? What about, what's the name of that? Koka also. When you have an elder with such a high level integrity like Professor FrimpongBoaten, you don't play with him. But the good thing is that what they are doing to Professor FrimpongBoaten, like he told everyone, he said there are virtual members of the New Patriotic Party. Those virtual members are actually the United Party members. All that they are waiting for is for us to have our final certificate. and they will come home. Well, what they are going through today, it's as though when you speak against bad tenants, they abhor it, they hate it.
Isn't that why maybe some of these things have festered in the party? The seeming, inability to instill discipline. Maybe that's what the party is doing now. Look, we are taking a new course of action. We want to instill discipline in the rank and file of the party. I mean, Professor FrimpongBoaten is a seasoned member of the party, and maybe comment like that should not be coming from him. And if the party is cracking the whip on somebody like Professor FrimpongBoaten, then every other person will act right.
The number of people who have made very dangerous statements, very highly inflammatory statements in the party comes nowhere near what Professor FrimpongBoaten did. In fact, he explained, he gave reasons why he called the party a fake party. Which of it I've explained to you? You can't tell me that a party that believes in the rule of law, a party that believes in everyone coming on board, you are going to hold your flag bearership election and you are charging 4.6 million, 46 billion OCDs. Professor FrimpongBoaten said, no, this is not MPP. It makes it fake.
Interesting.
You understand?
Yeah.
So nobody must downplay what Professor FrimpongBoaten has said. He has integrity more than...
Please, let me correct this.
Yeah. Are you correct?
No one in the party charged 46 billion for...
Hey, come on, what are you saying? No, but this is... You must correct him.
No, you said billion.
46 billion.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You mean
OCDs?
No, that is not true.
What is true?
Palpable.
It's not true. It's not true. Are you allowing us to go?
Excuse me.
No,
please,
relax.
Please.
Now, why is he saying?
Let's correct it.
Let's just development fee. I'm coming. Let's get the clarification.
We charge 100,000 Ghana cedis to pick up the nomination.
Yes, 100,000. Let's go.
Then 500,000 for filing nomination.
And then 4 million.
600,000.
And the 4 million.
That is officially.
What I call
that exactly what the party charge.
No.
And as we sit here,
yes,
one of the contenders,
yes,
okay,
yes,
attest to this.
Yes,
he paid 600,000 Ghana cedis, and he's in the contest.
No, but are you allowing?
He's in the contest.
So
when you sit here, to lie,
how can you?
Because you have been given a hardship job to do.
I don't want us to spend so.
This last point. That is not. What was the reason? What was the reason for the withdrawal of Engineer Adenimu from the race? Do you remember?
Yeah, he mentioned it.
No,
what did he say?
I am saying
he didn't say that. Look, the party from what we heard.
Let me read for 5 verses.
In fact, from what we heard from Engineer Adenimu, he did indicate that beyond the 100,000 and beyond the 500,000, there was a 4 million development.
Absolutely.
That was
with all respect, which was not.
What are you talking about?
Okay, which was not a matter put on all the candidates by force.
How can you say that?
What we do
is it the case?
That's what I'm saying. You should not sit here and lie.
Is it the case? Someone paid 4.6 million.
Solomon, land for me.
So in London, the lives of Kamala, the reasons why.
Don't run away. Sit down. Let me give it to you.
Classify them as fake. Because if you come and sit here and you know very well that you charge 4.6 million choppable money, and you are telling us that someone refused to pay, and for that reason I am lying. Between you and I and the general public, who
all right, great. Solomon,
it's unfortunate that I have to go to another place, but whatever he will say, I will have the opportunity.
Don't go away.
These are people who just for those of you who haven't fully appreciated the issue we are dealing with, having to do the comment that were made by Professor FrimpongBoaten. We want to listen to him briefly. Kamala really wants Solomon to. Solomon, just stay a second just before you go. So,
no problem.
The presentation. All right, so let's listen to Professor FrimpongBoaten, what he actually said.
It's not good to your sister.
Yeah. What I see now, it is not the MPP I used to.
But the question still stands.
The present MPP is not MPP, it's fake.
What?
Yeah. What I see now, it is not the MPP I used to.
But the question still stands. Do you still consider yourself a member of the MPP?
Not the fake one.
So which one is the real one?
The real one is there. It's a virtual thing, and the members are there in the background.
You think that...
Look at how they elected their last flag bearer, twist the arms of weak and...
This is for the 2024 election?
Yes. Twist people's arms, bribing delegates, and intimidating others to get a flag bearer. This is the beginning of corruption. And this should not be allowed in any serious situation or any serious party. And there were issues, we lost the elections badly, and we did not deal with the issues that led to the losses, and then we still want to go in there, and I think it would be a train wreck.
Surprised that you consider this as a free speech. This is somebody who has openly expressed his wish of not belonging to the membership of the New Patriotic Party, and we are taking the steps to grant his wish for him. This is a person who has been one of those who have contributed to the downfall of the party. If you go down there and ask the grassroots of the party, you will see the damage that Professor FrimpongBoaten has done to the New Patriotic Party. The party has constitution, we have laws, and when you go against the laws, then the party will apply the appropriate provisions on that. That is why the General Secretary has referred the matter to the appropriate provisions of the party's constitution. The formation of the New Patriotic Party was not by force, it was a voluntary joining. So if the person deemed it necessary that he doesn't want to be a member of the New Patriotic Party again, such as him, then we take the appropriate steps to grant him his wish. And the party will make sure that everything that is going to happen in this particular process is going to be grounded on the rule of law.
Now, welcome back. Now, Solomon had to leave us because he's rushing to our sister station, Adum TV, to also join them for their morning show. Now, we're still in studio with the guests, but let me come to you, Kamau, because you also had some thoughts you wanted to share. But the concern some people are sharing is that your party is now becoming one where if someone criticizes the party openly, that you want to crack the whip, you want to put everybody into silence, sort of. I mean, now how do you respond to that?
Well, thank you very much. Every society works with discipline. And every leadership comes with discipline. And every political party comes with norms, and if you like, constitution and regulations. And like our Deputy General Secretary, whose voice we just played, alluded to, it is a voluntary action you have taken. It is something that you have decided to do for yourself and for the party to join and uphold the good name of that political party. Now, if you say, Ms. Bao, or if you ask me, that our party has become a party where when anybody criticizes, we come after that person, I think it's rather unfortunate to go on that tangent. Why? We have a constitution which, of course, puts on all of us, each member of the party, some duties. And FrimpongBoaten, Dr. FrimpongBoaten, should know better as somebody who indeed prides himself as a senior member of this party. That's why I say every society has discipline, and every leadership comes with discipline. And if our leaders decide to be indisciplined, you would have to discipline them. Completely. Why am I saying this? Let's take what the constitution of the party says about duties of a member of the party. And with a great respect, listen to what the constitution of the New Patriotic Party says. Member, protect and promote the good name of the party. 2, protect the unity of the party. 3, be loyal and truthful to the party. Okay? And it goes on 4, abide by and publicly uphold the decisions of the party. Carry out his or her duties faithfully and with honesty to the best of his ability, and it goes on and on and on. And of course, this is Article 4 of the party's constitution, as it were. That's why I'm saying that Professor FrimpongBoaten should know better, and not just he alone. Whoever, if not for mischief reasons, if not for abroad reasons, okay, wants the party to move on, You don't wash your dirty linen outside.
You think he's doing this because he just wants to?
And I'm saying that we, the young people, know better than what they're doing. I will not subscribe to a political party like the NDC. If a member of the NDC comes to sit here and want to run down the NDC publicly, that person ought to be criticized. And if there are measures for the person to actually be brought to book on that, let so happen. And so what did he say? These are disgruntled members. They were disgruntled members of a party who decided to leave the party and decided to call themselves some UP plus or whatever they are, whether they are mobile phones, I don't know what it is. Okay? With some 31,000 people, you sit here and then you want to talk as if our party, that of course has a tradition and that has come up. We have been in opposition before. It's not as if we have not been in opposition before. Under Jerry Rawlings, 19 years of misrule of Jerry Rawlings, the MPP was still in existence. Okay? We had our Dankwa club before we metamorphosed into a new patriotic party in 1992 thereabout, when the ban was lifted. Since then, we have run for over 30-something years. It's now taking some disgruntled members of the party like Sulu, former disgruntled members anyway, because he's no more a member, who enjoyed and now appear ungrateful to the party, wants to come out and sit down to chastise the party for taking steps to ensure that sanity prevails in the party.
What about the concern that we've seen the party crack the whip? We've seen individuals who have done things and the party did crack the whip. But we also saw the party, when it was time for elections, then the party decides to grant wholesale clemency of a sort. Isn't this maybe part of the reason why because people feel that they do this, then the party will come, all right, everybody come back home, let's resolve it, let's bury that hatchet.
Let us not trivialize it. Every society, of course, gets to a point where you say, let's reconcile ourselves. And political parties are not left out. Okay? And like I said, we have a constitution that guides us. At the constituency level, okay, at the regional level and at the national level, there are mechanisms put in place for discipline to be instilled in the party. That we all know. So if at constituency level, some decisions were taken, regional level, some decisions were taken, and national things that look, for better cohesion and moving forward, let us all drop this and then come together, issue an amnesty, whoever has been suspended, let's come in and move. It does not mean that after doing this, a member of a good stature should go out there and sit on the media and chastise the party anyhow, baselessly, like what Professor FrimpongBoaten did. That doesn't mean. If an amnesty is granted, doesn't mean that it is a ticket for you to go out and then say anything when you have duties to perform as a member of the party.
What about the concern? Then maybe I'll come to Hamza on this. What about the concern that some say, and I've heard the General Secretary also speak on Asempere FM and a few other media houses, and some say that his posturing appears to be that he has already taken a stance on this, even before referring Professor FrimpongBoaten to the committee for him to get the hearing. Some say
taking a stand based on
a stance that he already has a position that he wants to be expelled. The punishment is already predetermined.
This is a very huge platform, a respected platform for that matter, and we expect some of these innuendos to be nipped in the bud.
But we had your Deputy General Secretary say that they are helping him to be expelled from the party.
When you say it was already a prepared stance by our General Secretary, and I asked you based on what? Why? You can't put something on nothing in the first place.
No, the General Secretary said he will be expelled.
Yes.
So the point is that you have already referred him to the committee, and the understanding is that the committee will be given a fair hearing.
No, let's be fair to the General Secretary. He said processes have actually been triggered to ensure that he's expelled from the party.
Yeah, but then you haven't given fair hearing, but you have already started to expel him.
Processes have been triggered. You see, there is. Let me read the Constitution again. Expulsion of a member is inculcated in our Constitution, clear. And if you want me to read the provision for you, I will read it now for you to see. And what warrants such an expulsion? Now, if this my brother sat here and said the interview was conducted around 9 p.m. and by the next morning, the General Secretary issued a notification or a communique to say that processes have actually been triggered, For that matter, he thinks the timing was too short and blah. I disagree. Why? As I sit here, if I should decide to take on my party, okay, needlessly and baselessly, the next second, if the general secretary or whoever is in authority is listening, okay, it doesn't stop him and it doesn't stop any member to even petition that I should be expelled from the party. So for the general secretary to have said that, I don't see why it's a problem. But if it was done yesterday, I think that the onus actually was on the good professor to have known that you have children. You have young ones growing. You are grooming them. And you gave birth to them to be better than you, not for you to continue to be better than them. You should have known that. Therefore, some of the things that they wouldn't even say, then you don't say it. How on earth can you come and say that you don't even see yourself as a member of the party? So it grounds the general secretary's position that you should be expelled. You said you don't see yourself as a member of the party, first place. And we are talking about, so your loyalty is even questioned. And the party says you ought to be loyal to the party. Then again, you go further to say that it's a fake party, denigrating the party. And yet you say the general secretary should sit down aloof and keep quiet and nobody is saying that you shouldn't criticize. That is not criticism. When I sat here this morning, I told you we are going to even criticize this government. However, we will do that with circumspection. That's what I said. Yeah. When you are critiquing, okay, you must ensure that it becomes constructive. You must ensure that what you are saying holds weight. But you do not come to denigrate the name, the good name of your own party, and next time you say you are in the party, nobody can take you out. Please, this is an organization that we have all decided to subscribe to, and subscribe to the rules and regulations within it. For that matter, you cannot take the law into your own hands, no matter who you are. Nobody is above the law. No matter who you are, it has to be done. And of course, the amnesty we granted is not a ticket for anybody to sit down and run down.
All right, great. Let me come to...
We disagree.
I mean, we have seen this happen in your party before. We've seen a former Central Regional chairman of your party, suffer similar fate. We've seen, the former General Secretary, who has now become, I'm not sure what his status is now. I'm talking about Kokuya Yidohu. I mean, this is not new as far as the management of a political party is concerned.
No, this is absolutely new. And before I go on to why this is absolutely new and why you cannot compare that to what happened in the National Democratic Congress, I think after listening to my brothers on the possibility of a maintenance authority, still on the transport issue, I was trying to more or less give some relevance to the views being expressed. And instead of a maintenance authority, I think that it would be better for us to have it in the form of a limited liability company where the private sector can actually drive. But government just provides the needed legislation so that they will have that national outlook with regional offices, but largely driven by the private sector in terms of maintenance.
And like I said, I think you should register a company like that and then get it.
I'm not really that big. I'm not a businessman.
He's fine-tuning the idea. Brilliant.
But Ms. Bao, now to the substantive issue of the internal happenings of the New Patriotic Party. Many would wonder why, for those of us in the National Democratic Congress, would be interested in a matter of this nature. First of all, we are Ghanaians, and we are all at the beck and call of the 1992 Constitution. And it is clear under the Constitution that the New Patriotic Party is a public entity. And that enjoins each and every one of us, whether you are a member of the CPP, the United Party, or the National Democratic Congress, to be interested in the activities of that particular political party. Because it is a public entity and at any point in time could be favored by the good people of this country to lead the country once again. And so I think that is where the right to be interested in the affairs of the New Patriotic Party stems from. But for many of us, this is not surprising, especially those in the National Democratic Congress.
Is it the comment or the action by the...
both the comment and that of the action. And I'll demonstrate why. Look, in 2007, when the MPP met in Lagos to elect their flag bearer, many of us in the National Democratic Congress cautioned that an election of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo could spell doom, not just for the New Patriotic Party, but for the country as a whole. They attacked the NDC of engaging in all manner of propaganda simply to prevent Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo from getting close to the presidency of the Republic. The NDC was not alone in that caution. His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor had cause in London to caution the New Patriotic Party, and he was a sitting president then, to be wary of a candidate who was full of tension, because that candidate could lead the NPP into abyss. We all knew the person John Agyekum Kufuor HE was referring to. They did not listen. They proceeded to elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And upon his election, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo turned the New Patriotic Party of 92 to a political tradition that was so alien to the foundational principles of the NPP.
How so?
It became Nana Addo's own backyard political party. And for 8 good years in opposition, Nana Addo shaped the politics of the NPP, not according to the foundational principles of the Busia Dankwa tradition, but according to his own parochial and personal ambitions. And for 8 years in opposition, no one questioned him. What did they think they were doing?
When you say he did not shape it according to the principles of the Busia Dombo tradition, but his, I mean, what was the distinction there? What did he do which, was undermining the principles?
Democratic processes. It's about the party's democratic processes. Nana Addo became the Alpha and Omega. He took charge. Indeed, that was the reason why even at a point, Alan decided to break away from the party. Because of the hostilities he and his supporters suffered. Prior to even the 2008 general election, and subsequently even after, they decided to hold regional conferences, and the Alan team were completely taken off. When national executives of the party, national chairman in the person of Paul Afoko, and general secretary in the person of Kobna Aljepong were elected in a popular suffrage, election, to lead the party, it had to take Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his cabal to boot these national officers out of office. They are national chairman and general.
That was a decision that was taken.
Remember that they were actually
executive committee. It wasn't a Nana Addo decision.
Absolutely. But that's what I'm telling you.
It was a national committee that did the
built
decision.
a Nana Addo People's Party.
But it was a national committee. It was a national executive committee.
You can engage in that politics of, what do you call it? Trying to paint it right. But we all knew, as at then, that the party was simply kowtowing to the rules and desires and wishes of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Even a first-year political science student knows this. Look, General Secretary was even ambushed. His vehicle destroyed at the party head office before his removal. Where was the likes? And that's why I'm telling you that the issue is both. Where were the likes of Professor FrimpongBoaten when that was happening within the politics of the NPP? He kept quiet. Even accepted after 2016 to serve as Nana Addo's Minister of Environment. So the MPP is a political party full of opportunists, driven with a desire to empower themselves at the expense of the state. So even this current outburst is never in the interest of the Republic of Ghana. It is in the interest of Professor FrimpongBoaten, as it is with many NPP people. So that's why I'm telling you that even his outburst is problematic, because it is parochial, it is sectional, it has nothing to do with serving the national interest. But that does not mean that he's wrong in the conclusion that this is a fake political party. And that's why I had to give you that historical evolution of the fakeness of the current NPP. Ms. Mao, as if that was not enough. And for 8 good years in government, Nana Addo did not only destroy the NPP. For 8 good years in government, we watched Nana Addo destroy every fiber of our life as a country, from the economy to state institutions. And for the first time, we saw national security, a party tax, attacking judges in Kumasi and the likes, where they had to run for their lives. We experience all manner of things. Journalists who since 92 have practiced with ease in this country. Journalists had to be flown out of this country for their own safety. Indeed, unfortunately, one of them was coldly murdered in the last 8 years. That was what happened to freedom of speech and a threat to our democracy. Do you call that the MPP of Buzia Danko tradition?
I mean, well,
it is only fair.
I have not even done anything yet.
What's the way forward? What's the way forward? I want to
now. It is important that
I'll try and get some.
And let him know where he's coming from.
I'll try and get some.
I am making an analysis.
Hamza should know where he's coming from himself.
Yeah, Hamza, land for me, please. Land for me, please.
Please bow. You see, so that is the trajectory the party has been going. Now Nanado is no more. When Nanado was flat, before he exited, he presided over the election of the current National Executive Committee and even their front bench in Parliament. His influence was brought to bear in determining who became National Chairman, General Secretary, and the like. That's the same with that of the, what do you call it? That is leadership in Parliament. I know as a matter of fact that the decision to appoint Afenyo Martin as minority leader was taken in consultation at the behest of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I know that political pressure influenced the election of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 general election. And that is what many of these people are talking about. Who can deny that? Incumbency power? Who can possibly deny that influence? And so we are still living, the MPP for that matter, they are still reeling under the negative effects of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's leadership, even now that he's former president. What we have in place, please, under a minute, what we have in place is still the consequential effects of that bad leadership. So you do not expect anything reasonable from the current National Executive Committee. When you were trying to correct him about their decision to sideline their own internal processes, the General Secretary, we all heard him. What did he say? He wants to be out of the party. We are making it easier. We are trying to quicken the processes for him to leave the party. Is that not what Haruna said? We will help him realize that dream. Is that not what he said? And you sit here and claim that you are taking him to your internal processes. This is a confused party, and a party that cannot lead itself should not even dream of getting close to the leadership.
My brother, let me look. You see, there are some impressions.
Just do 2 minutes, Ivan. I'll let you have the last take on this. Then I'll come to the studio.
This is very
Ivan,
interesting.
I'll let you have the last take on this.
The person who was your founder, the NDC's founder, late Jerry Rawlings, the kind of inhumane treatment he was subjected to by the likes of Hamza and other members of his own party.
Was he sacked from the party?
Okay,
listen,
I'm saying the founder.
Don't be comparing.
Again, we sit here.
And oranges.
The horse hips, with all respect, the horse hips that you use
from the party
to chase the likes of Obeda Samuel and go out of the party. To the extent that you brought somebody please.
Nobody sacked him.
The horse, you used to take them out. And I'm saying, John Dramani Mahama, today you are presenting him like a saint. Interesting. We all remember Fonka Games, Atamals, and what happened to Rawlings' wife. We all remember how you skewed to ensure that nobody even contests John Dramani Mahama and what before and co had to go through in this party. We sit here today, your General Secretary is under siege.
Did Dufo leave the party?
Your General Secretary, Fifi Kote, is under siege.
For what?
By you, just because he has come out to caution or to issue statements that says, look, let's build a political party. You are fighting him. We sit here today. Your president, or our president, had cause to call your own party a lame horse after the 2016 election. John Dramani Mahama is on record to have described the NDC as a lame horse, that he rode a lame horse into the party. But yet still, you nurtured, protected him, brought him, and washed him, and then present him as if he's the best. Why? You are here saying that some people sit and then use mechanisms to ensure that other people are elected. What you do in NDC, we also watch. But of course, the future is pregnant.
Interesting.
We are watching. We have seen ours. We lost elections, and then we are trying to reorganize ourselves. You lost election 8 years ago, and then you went back to the drawing board, reorganize yourself, and then you came back. We are indeed
didn't have
sure that we're going to put our party together and we will not allow any indiscipline to continue in this party, no matter what happens.
Ivan, but you are digging yourself further.
No, that is not your business.
Ivan, proceed.
I think in an attempt to deepen internal party democracy, it is quite imperative to appreciate concerns being raised by anybody. Political parties are full of individuals from different backgrounds, different orientation, and at any point in time, people have the right to express their opinion, dissatisfaction concerning the state of play at any point in time. And looking at the statement from Professor FrimpongBoaten, I think it has been poorly appreciated in the sense that people just look at it from the terms like the party is fake. And the opinion or beneath those statements is a certain frustration that has been brought to bear in the way and the manner that he spoke. Listening to him beyond the words, his gestures, his demeanor could tell a whole story more than the words that he used. And for me, he's entitled to his opinion as an elder of the political party, dissatisfied. He has the right to speak his mind, you understand? But the problem is the hot-headedness, this unruly reaction from the party, because NPP as a political party will not expect everybody to agree with you. So at any point in time, if somebody of his like has spoken something that you disagree, I wasn't expecting the...
But shouldn't they expect better from somebody like you? Shouldn't they expect better from someone like you?
No, the
concerns being raised, he's not the only person who has made such concerns. President Kufuor expressed his concern about the state of play. Kwame Mpiani,
is that what they said?
Made similar. No, it's about expressing their concern. It doesn't matter how. That is why I'm saying that what he said has been narrowly appreciated. You understand that? Because if you do some of these things, you end like weaponizing the entire party.
What do you think the NPP can do to try and
I think
bring some stability?
I keep telling people that when you're a political party and you lose power, you lose connection with the people, then you move to a phase of reconciliation. That is the path the NPP decided to avoid. And it's the reason why all these things are coming up. For instance, political reorganization has its own template, and it has always been the bottom-up approach. Yes, you can decide to go the other way. But the reason for it is that when parties lose political power like this, there are internal fractures and those kind of discontention among people. So you use the bottom-up approach to patch these things, you understand? But they decided to go for the flip. They flipped that bottom-up approach and started from the top. And this is what has given rise to some of these concerns, because the phase that they were supposed to engage to engagement and bring people on board just to ensure that the party will be on the right footing for the job ahead, they did not. And again, anybody who would have expected that as a political party, having lost political power, the best option available would have been attempting to engage people like Solo and other people who have left. But you listen to the...
But they've gone to form their party. They have moved on.
It doesn't matter, but
the party has the right to say whatever against my party. I have no right to respond.
Which attempt were made to bring these people on board? That is why I'm saying that if you lose power, you have to concede, move to a phase of reconciliation. You become a mother trying to bring everybody on board.
But they did that, didn't they? They opened the room for everybody to come, reapply.
And beyond
it's
that.
difficult to convince someone.
Beyond that, look at the current happenings in the party. And again, there are people who are very much convinced within them that in the previous elections, most of the executive rooted for a particular candidate, you understand, and that is trite knowledge, we all know. So maintaining the same executive going for the next election, people will not be at ease. That is why some of them are threatening that they will come out with their own metro man at the polling station to have some of these things. So for me, I think the NPP has moved itself into the phase where they have decided not to become amenable to reasoning, common sense, because all the proper structural adjustment that is done to political parties that very often lose power and seek to contest the next election, they've abandoned everything. People are just driving at the behest of personal emotion and dictation.
All right, let's see how many people. I see a lot of people nodding their heads. They seem to agree with a lot of things.
But you are not allowing me to flow. That is the challenge.
You 30 seconds.
So for me, I think we all want our democracy to deepen. the MPP is a critical and an integral part of Ghana's democracy. I want them to be better. But the trajectory they are on is very dangerous. And it's unfortunate they have become not amenable to reasoning. They don't even appreciate the concerns being raised. The very moment you speak, they think you're against them. And that is quite unfortunate. For me, I think the desperate attempt to weaponize the political party against, or this desperate attempt to transform everybody into a sort of a sycophant who will just heal the system, it's quite unfortunate. People should be allowed to express their opinion, because Professor FrimpongBoaten, they said he contributed to the loss of the party. In what sense? The guy conducted an independent investigation and brought out the outcome. So were you expecting him to conceal the findings? Is that what you are saying? So all these things are not relevant argument to make. So for me, I think they should cool their head down. The General Secretary should just come down from his high horse and see himself as the CEO of a political party who is managing human beings. You don't become a reactionary and be speaking on radio in a manner that he did. It's quite unfortunate.
All right, guys, let's try and do this very, very briefly. 30 seconds. Let's go. Who has the microphone?
Thank you so much, Mr. Misbao. I strongly agree with Mr. Suhini with the statement that where he said Nana Addo was able to skew everything to his satisfaction. I believe the first person who is supposed to face disciplinary action within the NDC should be Nana Addo. I wasn't expecting such a letter to come from a lawyer of high standard like Mr. Justice Justin Kodia, because what happens to Article 4, Clause 3 of the NPP Constitution that talks about disciplinary action? The statement made by the Deputy Secretary of the NPP has already prejudiced the whole matter. When someone makes a statement and you think it's indiscipline, you refer the person to the discipline committee. But issuing a statement that is referring the person to the neck instead of the discipline committee, you've already made a prejudiced statement.
Interesting.
And
I think that's a
Zach,
point. Yeah.
Thanks very much. I think as a political party, you have rules that governs us. Even in the NDC, the Central Regional Chairman, the former Regional Chairman in Central Region, Alto Jacobs, was suspended because of anti-party conduct. And even also, as they were saying, Polafoko and Japan were suspended, and then people want power. If we can flip some people in line, or we can suspend some people and win power, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
All right.
And also, let me.
I think you have spoken. If someone else.
I would like to also.
Ms. Bell. 2 seconds. Okay, you sat down. I was giving you 2 seconds, but you sat down.
What about the new? The NPP is doing is actually making their party unattractive for the young people, because even the young people, even they are doing this to Professor FrimpongBoaten. How much more a young politician?
They are saying they are doing it so that it will serve as deterrence to young people to.
Actually, it's in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Thank you once again. Yeah, I think my problem is the place he speak, because this case is very eternal and it's in the party, within the party. We are all in the party. We know what is going on in the party, but you can't come out and voice this out, because it will make the party unattractive, because it's fake. We're all in the party, we know what is going on, but we don't talk. We address the problem. Internal, we talk. Internal meetings, we talk. Then we address issues, because we are an organization. We can't come out and talk on public television.
Thank you so much.
Ivan,
thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your patience.
Just briefly,
thank you so much.
it is important.
We have to go. We have to leave.
We are almost
55.
No, I give you opportunity.
We have to leave now.
We have not said anything.
We have to. I've been prompted. We have to leave.
The point, the distinction, this distinction is important. This distinction is important. This distinction is important.
These people have a history
in the National Democratic,
and they would have to advise the MP.
That is why.
I disagree.
I'm pleased. That is why in my submission.
I'm sorry. You have to go.
That is why in my submission I made the point that Professor FrimpongBoaten has a problem. But when it comes to the approach in sanctioning people, you cannot compare what is happening now in the MPP to what happened in the NPP.
Oh no!
Thank you so much.
And that's why the two cannot.
What people have done to
we will go through processes. Back sometime next week, and of course, so much more conversations to have.